Militia family, what's good? What's good in the building? Man, we have all kinds of reports and news coming out today. The Las Vegas Raiders have added one name that I know a lot of people in the Raider Nation has been waiting for a long time to be added to the list. We will get to that. We will break it all down. And also, another Kubiak added to the list. Which Kubiak is it? Well, I mean, y'all could figure it out, right? But we'll break that down. Harbaugh, I've been gone the last 2 days, is no longer on the board. Looks like he will be coaching Jackson Dart, Malik Neighbors, Cam Scatterboo, and that nasty, nasty defensive front over there for the New York Giants. Also, how y'all feeling about this head coaching candidate? Who is your number one? Let me know. Let me know in the chat. Who is your number one? Is it Clint Kubiak? Is it Klay Kubiak? Is it Mike LaFleur? Is it Brian Flores? Who is it? Is it the ball? Who is your number one guy? There was a lot of reports heating up. The Raiders have interviewed today my guy. If y'all watch this channel, you already know who it is. It is none other than Mike LaFleur. Was in the building, I believe, today. Also with Nate Schilhaus, another guy that if you don't follow this channel, man, you should follow this channel. We were talking about that name before it was mentioned by anybody on the planet. Nate Schilhaus, obviously in the building today, another big name. He's also interviewing with the Titans, interviewing with the Cardinals. So, the head coaching search is piling up. There's all kinds of names out there, and the Raiders are doing their due diligence. They've already interviewed, I believe, 8, maybe 9 candidates. We'll get to that here in a second. And they have a whole bunch more on the list. So if you were mad last year because the Las Vegas Raiders, right, jumped right into it, they only interviewed, enough to fill the Rooney Rule, and then they pretty much had their guy right off the rip. So, if you weren't impressed or you weren't happy with the head coaching situation last year, well, stay tuned, buckle up, strap in, because it's going to be wild this year, man. It's going to be wild. There's a lot of names that are floating to the top of the list. The little birdie in my ear says, of course, Mike LaFleur is one of them, but there's a couple more names that are creeping up that the Raiders have not interviewed yet. And we'll also talk about who I believe will get number 2, right? The number 2 interview, because nobody's going to hire anybody off a Zoom call. They want to wine and dine these guys like the Giants supposedly did to Jim Harbaugh. They went out, they took the dude to the best restaurant, right? They wined him and dined him. They made it to where Jim Harbaugh did not want to leave the building. He had a Titans interview lined up for the following day, which was yesterday. I don't know if he took that interview, but reports are no, he did not. So, if the Raiders find their guy, they need to do it right. So we'll break down who gets the next interview, who gets number 2. Are these guys one and done like Pete Carroll? Shout out to everybody in the building. Appreciate you rocking with your guy. But let's get into it. The Las Vegas Raiders have interviewed. Oh my God, I should know it by heart by now. I've talked about it so many damn times. The Las Vegas Raiders interview. Let's start at the bottom. Davis Webb. If you don't know who Davis Webb is, you better do your homework. Jump on the train before you get left. It is a name that, from what I hear, absolutely killed it in the interview. And more than likely, probably likely, we'll get a second interview. But he's interviewed with a lot of other teams, and somebody might jump on these guys, before the Raiders get a chance to get them back in the building. So, Davis Webb interviewed on January 7th. Kevin Stefanski interviewed on January 8th, which is a guy that, a lot of people in Raider Nation are not very high on Kevin Stefanski. But if you look at his criteria, if you look at, his track record, 2-time coach of the year for a Cleveland Browns team that has nothing but problems. If you think the Raiders have problems, go pay attention to the Cleveland Browns. We are way, way higher on the totem pole, even though we hire head coaches every single year. I think we still better ran than the Cleveland Browns, just my opinion. So Kevin Stefanski, a name that I'm not going to lie, a lot of people, like I said, are not big on, but I would not be mad if this dude was in the building. Change the culture, smart man. We all know his resume with quarterbacks. I don't care what people say about the Shador Sanders thing. I think Shador Sanders did way better underneath him. Shout out to everybody in the building. We'll get to y'all in a minute. Matt Nagy, OC for the Queefs, right? Interviewed him. Vance Joseph, one of the Rooney rules, not just a Rooney rule, but a very well prospective defensive coordinator. Look at the Broncos defense. Could you imagine Max Crosby under a Vance Joseph type defense? I think would absolutely be insane. They're sending 5, 6 guys pretty much every single play. Jesse Mentor on the 14th interviewed with the Las Vegas Raiders. Haven't heard much about it. Don't know how it went. Iroho Evero interviewed Panthers DC on January 14th, and Jeff Hafley, Packers interview, who from what I hear went pretty well, right? Surprise name, the DC for the Packers. We've seen how their last game went. Not very well, right? But it's a very coveted coach that a lot of people are interviewing on a lot of lists. And I hear it went pretty well. So if the Raiders decide to go that direction, then it will be what it be. But those are the names. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 coaches already have been interviewed. Like I said, there's a whole shitload that's still in the process. They interviewed Michael Ford today and Schilhaus and somebody else. I don't know if it was Chris Shula, but somebody else got interviewed today as well. Unleashed Raider in the building. Appreciate you, Greg Brewer. What's good? Jack Festy, what it do, Raider Nation. Grandpa Harold in the building. My guys, salute to you. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate all of y'all being here. Brandon, what it do? Hello to you. Dusty Oreo. Clean the dust off that. Tomlinson is one. Tomlin. We talked about this before. When he first got fired, or when he first stepped down, I came on here and said, you're going to have to trade picks for him. It's going to cost you to get Tomlin. And I believed that he stepped down for a reason. I don't think he wants to coach anymore. 18 years with one team. The criticism, the scrutiny he gets in Pittsburgh is horrible for a guy that all he does is take you out to the playoffs and have a winning record, every single year for 19 years. I just don't think he wants to coach anymore. And I could be wrong. But from what I'm hearing, definitely more than likely will not be coaching this year. It might not be coaching again. And we'll see, right? Like I said a couple days ago, when Bill Cowher stepped down, a lot of people thought in a year or two he would go back to coaching. There's always that scenario where John Gruden, he stepped down 9 years later, he decided to come back to coaching. There is that scenario, but at 53, I think Tomlin might be done. How are you today, sir? Candy Angel in the building. What's good? Appreciate you. Can't believe it took dude over 100 mil after he was fired. Hey, high coaches are, a big name commodity. And, the dude was a special teams guy hired for that. Yes, he had other positions, coached other positions as well. But, as long as he's coached in the NFL, I think he's past the special teams look. And as you can see, 5 years, the contract isn't out yet. But what they're saying is 5 years, $100 million for John Harbaugh. Absolutely ridiculous money. Do you gamble on sports? Funk Congress. Sometimes. I use Underdog. Go check it out. Use my link. Help out the channel. $5 get you 75. Appreciate you. You got that already. Sweet. All right, man. So a name everybody has been waiting for, long overdue, right? We hear all the talk in the Raider Nation about this guy. He was the passing game coordinator and the wide receiver coach for LSU when Joe Burrow happened to be the quarterback. Who were those receivers? Well, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. I don't know why it slipped my mind, right? Two of the most coveted receivers in all of the NFL. Yes, Joe Brady was there at that time. He also has done a whole shitload of other jobs. Wait, I have the list right here. Let me get to it. Dun, da, da, da. Shit, that's not it. All right, so yes, Joe Brady, William Mary, Charles Grant, our offensive tackle, also played at William Mary, but not then, right? 2013 to 24, he was the LB coach. He was a Penn State graduate. 2015 to 16, New Orleans Saints offensive assistant. 2017 and 18, LSU, as we just spoke of, passing game coordinator and wide receiver coach. Then he went to the Panthers OC. 20 to 21, Buffalo Bills quarterback coach with Josh Allen. We all know, Josh Allen, right, and what he's done over there. A lot of people give credit to Brian Daboll, but you have to give credit to Joe Brady for what he's done with Josh Allen over there as well. Then Buffalo Bills 2023 interim offensive coordinator. 2024, I don't know who's at the door. I'm not a poet, you didn't know it. Buffalo Bills offensive coordinator 2024. So Joe Brady, a coveted name, in the Raider fan base. A lot of people have been throwing that name out last year, this year, right? He will interview for the Las Vegas Raiders coaching job. And then another name we will get to in a minute. Nah, we'll get to it right off the rip, right? A Kubiak. No, it's not Gary. No, it's not Clint. But it is the younger brother of Clint, Klay Kubiak. Who is Klay Kubiak? He is just a passing game coordinator, but he is the offensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers. Yes, the same 49ers that have had a beat-up offense, a beat-up receiving core, a beat-up quarterbacking staff, right? Still are in the playoffs, still fighting for their life. They will face the Seattle Seahawks coming up this weekend. So make sure y'all pull up and watch that. We will be live as always. You know how we do. Alex, my guy, appreciate you in the building. All right, so Klay Kubiak, Cleveland Browns, 2029 to 12, assistant to the head coach. That's a big job, right? A lot of people overlook what the assistant to the head coach means. Sometimes you're the offensive coordinator, and because of the lateral movement, rule, you can't really move from offensive coordinator to offensive coordinator. So sometimes, to spice it up, they'll give you the offensive assistant or assistant head coach. So you have two positions, right? Or a run game coordinator and an offensive coordinator. Anyways, Tennessee Titans, 2023, he was the offensive assistant and special assistant. Oh shit, that's not the right guy. Anyways, well, wrong guy. But anyways, Klay Kubiak is, sorry, my bad. Wrong picture. San Francisco 49ers, 2021 defensive quality control. Yes, everybody makes mistakes, even me. Crazy, right? Crazy. San Francisco 49ers, 2020 to 23 was the assistant quarterback coach. If y'all know who the quarterback was during that time, drop it in the comments and let me know. San Francisco 49ers, 2024, he was the offensive passing game specialist. Currently, 2025, he is the offensive coordinator. He also served as head coach for Stake Jesuit College. It's a prep school, but it's still 3 years of coaching experience. As a coach, he was 24-11. Solid numbers, right? Solid numbers. So Klay Kubiak and the offense for the San Francisco 49ers, we will see what they do against Seattle, but I think he's got something, up his sleeve, right? Up his sleeve for that. And he's a Kubiak, right? We all know his father Gary has a Super Bowl, right? We know the history of Clint Kubiak, what he's done around the league with the San Francisco 49ers, been in that McVay tree, also been in the Shanahan tree. So another Kubiak has been added to the list of candidates. Speaking of candidates, what else we got? Rebel Sports got all that. I posted the link. Appreciate you. Carl Nassib is better. Well, I mean, if Carl Nassib is your boy, that's your boy. I mean, you ain't got to choose this channel to come out, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Fire Ballard. Would I box Jake Paul? Absolutely, bro. Sign me up. Where's he at? Where's he at? Sign me up. Sign me up. I need at least 10 mil minimum, and we will scrap. I need 4 months to train, probably 6, but we'll go with 4. But yes, in a hot minute, bro. In a hot minute. Lawrence, my guy, what it do? Appreciate you in the building. Raiders doing extensive search and doing their homework on the coaches. That is good, right? And, like I said, if you're more excited with the coaching search this year than you were last year, 25 people in the building, man, hit them thumbs up. Let's run them likes up. Double tap the screen. Give me a Mad Max kick on the like button. NASA better than Crosby. NASA was a baller, bro, and if it wasn't for the NFL being the way they are, he would still be in the NFL playing. Like, the dude was a freak out there, and freak's probably not the right word, but it is what it is. Bro, I'm circumcised. Shut your lips. Carl Nassib, 20 sack season incoming. Well, he's got to get on the field first, bro. But I'm glad you are, very high on Carl Nassib in the building. But let me stop right there. A coach that I believe, the most underrated coach in this coaching search that is not getting any love. He is not getting any respect, and I believe it's because he coaches for the Las Vegas Raiders. He is the tight ends coach for the Las Vegas Raiders. If you know the name before I say it, drop it in the comments. Candy Angel, you don't count. You're disqualified. You're disqualified. But 45-second delay. I'll give y'all a little bit of time. He's a guy that's worked with Brock Bowers. He's a guy that's worked with Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel. What was he to Mike Vrabel? We will get to in a minute. I don't know if anybody dropped the name, but we will see, we will continue with this process. Luke Steckel. Luke Steckel is the tight ends coach for the Las Vegas Raiders. Why Luke Steckel? Well, Luke Steckel was brought in by a very brilliant mind in Josh McDaniels. Now, pump the brakes before you all, exit out and be like Josh McDaniels. Yes, I know Dick Daniels as an offensive coordinator, as putting the staff together. Josh McDaniels knows what the hell he's doing. Just look at the staff they've put together over there in New England, who are in the playoffs and could possibly be a strong Super Bowl contender if they can win this week, right? Their offense struggled last week. Anyways, Mike Vrabel was the Tennessee Titans head coach. While he was the Tennessee Titans head coach, Luke Steckel first was with the Cleveland Browns as an assistant head coach. Now, I talked about earlier, right, what it means to be an assistant head coach, the knowledge you gain. You are basically doing everything for the head coach as the assistant. You are helping put together the game plan. You are helping, book flights and hotels and, make sure everybody's meals are good, right? You're doing all the shit a head coach would do as an assistant head coach. You're doing 90, depending on the coach, you're doing 90% of his work. So you know this guy in and out. What better guy to know in and out than, I don't know who the head coach was for the Browns in 2009 to 2012. We will not get to that. I will look in a minute, or somebody remind me if you want to know. Anyways, after that, 2013, he was the offensive assistant and special assistant to head coach Mike Vrabel with the Tennessee Titans. 2014 to 16, he was the offense assistant coach for the Tennessee Titans. Yes, that team that went to the playoffs. Luke Steckel was also in 2017 assistant wide receivers coach with the Tennessee Titans. In 2018 to 20, he was the offense assistant coach once again. Then he was the assistant offensive line coach. The Raiders need an offensive line. Luke Steckel has been involved with teams that have great offensive lines. Mike Vrabel's teams always have a great offensive line, no matter what staff he puts together. You know, he's got a winning record for a reason. They believe build in the trenches. Luke Steckel is a guy that believes build in the trenches. He was the assistant offensive line coach for the Chicago Bears in 2023, which I do believe that was wrong because I do believe he came over in 2022 with, or maybe it was 23, with Josh McDaniels, and he has been the Las Vegas Raiders tight ends coach ever since. So he has made it through 3 coaching staffs. He has seen 3 different offenses. He is a guy that followed Mike Vrabel around for a whole entire year, or 2 years, 3 years, 4 years in Tennessee. 2013 till 2022. So a guy that was around Mike Vrabel for a long, long time. You have to pick up something being in the building. A guy, Luke Steckel, who has been in the Las Vegas building for the last 4 years. A guy that knows Brock Bowers, that knows our receivers, that knows Michael Mayer, that knows, Ian Thomas, that knows Justin Shorter, a guy that, I believe should have been on the 53-man roster this year. But when you have guys like Carter Runyon, with his athleticism and come in and does what he does. If you look at the Raiders right now, you could say the best position group on this team is the tight end group. They don't make mistakes. All they do is block, catch, and pick up yardage and first downs, right? That is a product of Luke Steckel. Another reason Luke Steckel should be on this list is Luke Steckel knows the people in the building, right? He knows the management. He knows, spy tech, right? I don't know how much of Tom Brady he knows, but he knows these guys. He knows the players on the offense. A lot of these guys are going to be around. He knows the offensive line. He has previously, had help with the offensive line. Maybe not the offensive line coach, but maybe the assistant. Or, maybe he knows guys from the Vrabel tree that are not currently with Vrabel with the Patriots, right? So Luke Steckel is a guy that, I think is very, very underrated. And the Raiders are not doing their due diligence as far as I'm concerned. If you don't at least bring the man in for an interview, just pick his ear and see, another one of those ginger guys which seem to be blowing it up in the NFL. If you look at the head coaches, most of them, are redheads, right? I don't know what it is about. Seems to be with something in their blood and their character. But if you look at the young coaches, Luke Steckel reminds me a lot of a Liam Cohen, right? If you hear him speak, when you hear him talk, go back and look at the Las Vegas Raiders coaching interviews with Luke Steckel. He is a very, very intelligent mind, and I believe the Raiders need to pick his brain. Would you take Dart and Theodox for our first round pick? Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. I think Dart is obviously a year ahead of Fernando Mendoza. I think the hype on Fernando Mendoza is just that. I think it's hype. I believe he's a very intelligent quarterback, but I believe he lacks a lot of things to succeed in the NFL. And I believe he's on one of the best teams in college football. So, yes, I would take a Jackson Dart who has a year experience, who sat behind a Super Bowl champion and Russell Wilson, who had Brian Daboll as his head coach. Yes, I would absolutely take Jackson Dart and Theodore. I don't even know how to say his name, but yes, absolutely 100%. I would take Carl Nassib with my first round pick, Victor. I bet you would. I bet you'd take him more than your first round pick. Dart plays real reckless, I think. Yes, but that can be cleaned up. He has an arm. He can read defenses. He is very intelligent as a quarterback. He just runs because, that's his mentality. When your receivers ain't open and your offensive line ain't blocking, and you can pick up yardage for your team, I admire his heart for doing it, right? There's not a lot of quarterbacks that can pick up first downs that don't. They choose not to run because they don't want to get hit. They don't want to take the abuse, right? They'd rather stand in the pocket and just lay down when people come to them, like Geno Smith. Oh my God, don't hit me. Stop. Stop. I don't think Geno Smith took a hit all year long. I think every time he fell down before guys got there. So I admired that in Dart. And with the right head coach and the right offensive coordinator, a guy like John Gruden, who's been telling him to slide since he was in college, I think would work wonders. Happy early birthday, my brother. You know what tomorrow is. Football? Football? Oh shit. Sorry, Rebel. I'm watching from a TV. It doesn't let me mod. Yeah, you good. You good. Nah, I don't need mods. We straight. Um, Alex M. Raiders need to draft an edge player. Man, I'm right there with you. And Akeem Mesidor, I don't know if he come out yet. He might be still in the closet. No, I'm just kidding. Don't kill me. Yeah, I don't know if he's come out or if he's guaranteed entered the NFL draft. But if he has, Akeem Mesidor is the guy that I would keep an eye on. And when I tell you to keep an eye on, one of these days I'm gonna go back and break out the record of guys I told you to keep an eye on that are just crushing it in the NFL right now. But it's a long list, and it would be a whole entire show. And I ain't trying to brag, but yes, an edge rusher is definitely tops on the list. AOC question. AOC what? AOC, I don't know. Is another backup. Hello, I didn't hear the question for the first, but yeah, I did a whole video on Luke Steckel. Yeah, go check it out. Go check out her video. Tatted Ray. What the hell is your name? I don't know. I don't even know. Tatted Raiderette or some shit. I don't know. She got so many names, bro. So many names. I can't keep up with them all. Raiders' new regime might keep Aiden O'Connell around. I believe they're gonna keep Aiden O'Connell around. And before we get too deep in this, I encourage everybody who watches this, who clicks on it, share it with your peeps. Go watch film. And if you don't pay for, the all 22 or the draft, what the hell is it? The C3, it'll come to me. If you don't have access to college film, there are always highlights on YouTube. And no, they're not the greatest, but they are good enough to compare a quarterback to another quarterback, right? You can watch these highlights. You can make your own opinion, your own assessment, and your own judgment, which I encourage everybody to do on this channel constantly, right? Don't go by what I say. Do your homework, do your due diligence, and then make a decision. But let's get to Fernando Mendoza and everybody that thinks this dude is NFL ready. He's going to step into the NFL and just crush it. He's a first round pick, first overall pick, the best quarterback in the draft, questionable. I got to bring up one thing. Curtis Rourke. Does anybody know who Curtis Rourke is? If you know who Curtis Rourke is in the chat, let me know. And it'll be a minute before I get to it because there's a whole bunch of comments that I got to get to that I'll skip through in a minute. All right, let's see. Raiders regime. All right, I'll go to the bottom just to see. Oh, I ain't that far. Shit, there ain't even that many comments. All right, never mind. But if you know, let me know. However, Curtis Rourke. What does Curtis Rourke have to do with anything? Well, he was drafted last year. 7th round pick. 227. What does that have to do with anything? He was the Indiana quarterback last year. And if you're hyping up Mendoza and you're telling me that Fernando Mendoza is a first overall can't miss pick for the Las Vegas Raiders, somebody that watches film, all these gurus, I've messaged everybody on X, I've messaged people I know on everything, right? On everything. I've emailed people. Let me know, because this is just my opinion. Again, how in the hell did Curtis Rourke last year go 11-2 with Indiana, the same team Fernando Mendoza is on. Right? Everybody's giving credit to Fernando Mendoza to flipping this Indiana team to winning out of nowhere. Wrong. It was Curtis Rourke last year. Go back and watch Curtis Rourke film. With a torn ACL, the man played the whole entire season. He had 29 touchdowns with 12 games. At that 12-game mark, that is 5 more touchdowns than Fernando Mendoza had. He had 5 interceptions through 12 games. That is 1 less than I think Mendoza has, 6? That is 1 less than what Fernando Mendoza has. Go back and watch Curtis Rourke. If you just look on YouTube, type it in Curtis Rourke highlights. Every play that they run is the same play Fernando Mendoza is running right now. Every throw that Mendoza makes, Curtis Rourke made last year before Mendoza. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is Tom Brady. Now, I hear content creators, making short saying Fernando Mendoza is a can't miss. He is that guy, right? He is that guy because Tom Brady looks for this and Tom Brady looks for that. But what Tom Brady's number one thing is, he likes guys who have struggled through adversity, who have stayed where they were and didn't jump to another school because of adversity. And if you look at Fernando Mendoza, he had decent years in Cal, but they weren't years on an 11-2 team that he jumped to, right? Because what was Indiana's record last year? It was 11-2. Yeah, they weren't undefeated, but it was the first year with Cignetti at that school, right? Different players, different recruits, different team. Yes, they had Surratt. Yes, they had Omar Cooper. Omar Cooper's numbers this year, touchdown-wise, are a couple more. Yards-wise, they're a couple more also. But they had another receiver, and Cooper was the 3rd receiver last year. This year, he is the number 2 receiver. He has a couple more touchdowns and, a little bit more yardage. But Surratt's numbers have dropped almost 300 yards from last year to Curtis Rourke from Fernando Mendoza. Those back shoulder throws over and over and over again. Curtis Rourke was throwing the ball down the field to Surratt. He had way more yardage. He had a couple less touchdowns because their red zone efficiency wasn't as good because their offensive line in their running game was not as good this last year as it is this year. They went 11-2. So Mendoza, all that talk about adversity and how, adversity would have been staying at Cal this year and taking them to the national championship, right? Instead, you left. You went to a team that was 11-2 the previous year before that had 2 great receivers in Omar Cooper and in Elijah Surratt, right? Curtis Rourke did the same thing Mendoza is doing this year, but didn't get nowhere near any bit of what Fernando Mendoza hype is getting this year. And you can't tell me the difference in these guys except for the fact that one gets up here and, oh my God, I love the national championship, and this guy, and it. Okay, bro, he's excited, he loves football. That's great. They might be 2 different personalities, but mental-wise, arm-wise, talent-wise, Curtis Rourke is more athletic, I feel, than Mendoza. He was playing with a jacked up ACL the whole entire year. So if we're going first round on a guy that wasn't even in the talks last year or the year before, Curtis Rourke was in the first round conversation last year. A lot of people had him very, very high. And then, the injury, whatever. But he still played through it. So I think the hype on Mendoza is crazy. And I know everybody wants this guy because he won the Heisman Trophy winner. I know Marcus Allen won the Heisman. I know Bo won the Heisman. Tim Brown won the Heisman, right? I get it. Jim Plunkett, not drafted by the Raiders, was a Patriot, but also won the Heisman. I get it. Heisman Trophy winners have done great for the Las Vegas Raiders over the years, and we haven't had a lot. But is Mendoza as good as everybody's saying? Is he that dude that's just going to come in and turn this team around overnight? Is he that dude that is going to be able to sit for a year and, still be that dude and still have that fire when he struggles, right? Because another thing that Tom Brady said was he wants a guy who, what's he going to do when he throws four interceptions? Well, Mendoza has never done that, right? He's never had a game where he's thrown, I think, more than two. I don't think he's ever thrown more than two interceptions for Indiana. Now, he has in Cal. What did he do then? Well, they didn't come back and win the game, right? That's one. Number two, he hasn't been in that position where he's thrown those interceptions. So we can't see, other than if you go back and look at Cal, what Mendoza would do in those positions. But you know who you can see? Trinidad Chambliss. Trinidad Chambliss. This is a man, if you're going through Tom Brady's, adversity and guys that have been there and been through the struggle and how they overcame it, Trinidad Chambliss is number one on that list, right? The kid comes in, wasn't the starter last year. The starter gets hurt. He comes in as a backup against my Arkansas Razorbacks, as a matter of fact, destroys them, puts up 5 touchdowns on them, ran all over us, and plays his ass off this year. Plays his ass off. Or that was this year, right? So Trinidad Chambliss is a dog. Has all the athletic attributes, can throw the hell out of the ball. But you want a guy that, in adversity, what did he do? Well, he fumbled the ball on the 5-yard line and gave Indiana the ball on the 5-yard line. Those were one of Mendoza's 3 touchdowns that were less than 54 yards total, right? He comes back out the next drive and drives them down the field and throws a touchdown. 2 drives later, and this is after he throws an interception for the pick 6 and drives them down and scores a field goal then. They didn't get in the red zone. But if you want a guy who's been through adversity and shows that he can come back after mistakes, it's Trinidad Chambliss, bro. It's Chambliss all day long. This is a dude that's shown it all year. You want to know another one? They fumble again inside the 20. Another first play touchdown for Indiana. They're up 3 touchdowns. Trinidad Chambliss doesn't give up. He comes out there, battles, and brings them back to where if it wasn't for a bad call of a total blatant pass interference, we might not be having this conversation of Miami and Indiana, right? It might be Ole Miss and Trinidad Chambliss. Not to mention, Lane Kiffin leaves in the middle of a playoff run and goes to LSU. You lose your head coach that brought you there. And Trinidad Chambliss still goes out and plays his ass off. Now, no knock on Mendoza, and people are going to think, oh, you just hate Mendoza. No, I haven't seen enough to just crown him the number 1 pick like everybody else is doing. And if you look at the other players in the draft, Klubnik, right? If you look at Klubnik, if you look at Nussmeier, these guys have been through the same adversity, but, they stuck around in their school. Even though their head coach was, getting fired at LSU, even though they got bitched, right, during the season. Like, Klay Kubiak is a damn good quarterback, in my opinion, on a bad Cincinnati team that has, struggled the last couple of years. Yes, they've been okay, but just not great. So I think people are just overhyping this Mendoza guy and saying, he's a can't miss number 1, man. If you know what a system quarterback is, if you know what an if quarterback is, and I'm not calling him an if quarterback, possibly though, right? If you have an offensive line, if you have a great running game, if you have 3 or 4 receivers that you could just, who am I going to throw it to? One's got to be open, right? They're not going to, if they're running a zone, you're picking it apart, right? So I'm just saying, if quarterback, if you have a great offensive line, if you have a defense that's top 5 in college football and get you the ball after 3 and out, or a turnover on the first play, or, put you up 7-0 in the first play of the game because they picked it off for a touchdown on the very first pass of the game, right? That's what Indiana's defense does. So I just think this dude is getting way too much credit on a team that is being talked about as possibly being one of the greatest teams ever in college football. Is he the reason? Or is he just the game manager? They run the hell out of the ball. They ran the ball for 184 yards last week. That was more than he passed for. I'm just saying, are we hyping up this quarterback because Raider Nation Raiders need a quarterback, and it has to be this year because we have the number 1 overall pick. I feel we are, man. I feel we are. So just go back and look at tape from last year. Watch Curtis Rourke. Like again, if you don't have access to film or you don't know how to watch film or break down film, but if you do, please let me know the difference. Email, text me. My shit's in everything. Please let me know. Hit me up on X Raiders Rebel _. Let me know. Let me know what the difference is between Curtis Rourke and Fernando Mendoza, except for one's, screaming and yelling about Jesus and, how great the rest of his team is, which is great. No knock to that. But I'm just saying, go back, compare them side by side. Watch Curtis Rourke. The touchdown that everybody was raving about this year against Alabama, right? He throws it way too high. Omar Cooper makes an amazing grab, jumps out of the building. Looks like he probably could have caught it and dunked it, alley-ooped it into the goalpost. It was so high. Great catch, toe tap. Remember, one foot was over here, the other foot was over here. He somehow got the toe down before, touchdown. They win the game. Curtis Rourke made that exact same throw on the exact same play, except it wasn't high. It was just a little bit high, right? The guy didn't have to jump out of the building to catch it. But an exact same game-winning throw. System quarterback. I'm telling you, it's a system. Back shoulder throw, back shoulder throw, back shoulder throw, back shoulder throw. Eventually, one of these teams, one of these defensive backs are going to notice this, and they are going to jump these routes and take one to the house. And if you look at Miami's defense, you look at their corners, what they did, they could be one, right? Both of these teams, I do believe, beat Ohio State. Tonka! But both of these teams, I do believe, beat Ohio State, right? Great defense, great offense. Don't be surprised. Do not be surprised if Miami wins this game. I've been saying it all week. I've been talking shit on eggs. That's what I do. Tonka! Anyways, been saying it all week. Miami has those bigs up front. They can stop the defense. They don't have two dogs on the outside like Ruben Bain and like Akeem Mesidor, right? These guys are gonna put pressure on Indiana. They're gonna have to run the ball. They have big dogs up front in the middle. We'll see if they can run the ball. But I believe a lot of people are sleeping on the fact that Miami is at home, right? Miami is in their house. You get home field advantage. Now, a lot of people say Miami, doesn't support their team very well. But if your team is in the national championship and you're in Florida and you don't support the Miami Hurricanes, what is wrong with you? Like, what is wrong with you? So I'm looking for a damn good game and, possible an upset. A lot of people are sleeping on Carson Beck, this fucking dog. A lot of people have been sleeping on Carson Beck. He throws too many interceptions. He's not consistent enough. Come on, this dude has 2 natties, bro. He's got two natties. Well, maybe the dog starts barking. I'll go back in here. Carson Beck has been here before. He's done that. Fernando Mendoza has not. He has not been here before. He has not done that. He is a guy that everybody's given all this praise to for turning Indiana. Taka! What the fuck is wrong with this dog? Good Lord, bro. So, yeah, man. You know what I mean? Like, Indiana is great at every position. Their linebackers, their corners, their safeties, their defensive front, their offensive line, man. This team, offensive line was MVP. MVP. In a bowl game. In a playoff semifinal bowl game, their offensive line was MVP. They didn't give it to Mendoza. They didn't give it to Surratt. They didn't give it to Omar Cooper Jr., who I think is one of the most underrated wide receivers in all of college football. This dude breaks tackles at a crazy, crazy rate. He picks up yardage at an unbelievable rate, and we'll get into more of Omar Cooper when we do some draft breakdowns. Can you make that dog stop barking, please? Fucking A, dude. Fucking dog. But yeah, so that's where we're at. That's where I'm at, man. We're sleeping on, a lot of people are sleeping. They have this team, hyped up. But don't sleep on Mario Cristobal, bro. Don't sleep on Mario Cristobal. This dude is not, not a coach you should underrate. It is not a guy that you should sleep on. And this Miami team with the bigs up front, right? They have probably a top 10 offensive lineman tackle that will be drafted in Francis Mauigoa, right? Possibly to the Raiders. So Miami is stacked, bro. You hear all the talk about there's no 5-star or 4-star recruits at Indiana. You know how many 5-star and 4-star recruits are at Miami? Bro, it's ridiculous. Let's say that. So Monday, pull up because we will break down this game. We will be live as Mendoza is exposed. No, I'm just kidding. But for real though, if anybody can expose them, it's Miami, bro. Miami. They also ran the ball for over 150 yards. They also are absolute freaks when it comes to the front line, both sides of the ball. The trenches are deep in Miami. Great coaches, great battle. And I think 8.5 points is a slap in the face, just like the Raiders are slapping, Luke Steckel and Patrick Graham in the face by not giving them head coaching interviews. What's it going to hurt to bring them in and ask them some questions? They might be exactly what they're looking for. You know what I mean? Raiders don't need a lot, but if we get our shit together, we could actually be a great team. I mean, yeah. We got to find the right coach to get the best out of these dudes. Chiefs are ass right now. I don't know about ass, but they're hurting. Yes, things can turn around quick for the Raiders to be a decent team again. I think we're better than that, man. I think the last 3 years since Josh McDaniels was here, we've had a team to compete. They can't put it all together. And, it's got to come, man. It's got to come. One of these young coaches, if you bring in Mike LaFleur, right, one of these guys that's going to run the West Coast offense, who's going to throw the ball downfield, who's going to run the shit out of the football, then you got to have a DC that can do the same thing. Our problem is every year, our offense is good, our defense sucks. Our defense sucks, our offense is good. For the last 20 years, we haven't had all three phrases. And I think I'm going to start a new show called All Three Phrases. Because all three phases, bro, you need in the NFL to be good. Special teams, defense, and offense. In every single game, if you look at the Raiders' problem, we score 20-something points, right? We give up 30. we hold the Denver Broncos to 10 points. We score 7. It's gotta happen. Look, everybody's underestimating this team. And I keep saying this, and I'm going to keep saying it. The Chicago Bears are still in the playoffs. Who was one of the teams that played the Chicago Bears better than anybody this year? The Raiders. The Raiders. We lost to a field goal. A blocked field goal. We lost to a blocked field goal, right? Who played another team that was dominating this year in the Jacksonville Jaguars down to the wire? The Raiders. Who beat the Patriots? Who only lost 3 other games? The Raiders. We were in some damn good games against some damn good teams, and that doesn't happen with an ass personnel. That doesn't happen with a team that's garbage and needs to rebuild the whole entire team. There's some dogs on this team, or we would have never been in those football games. We had bad coaching from the offensive line, bad coaching from the offensive run game coordinator, bad coaching all around. Pete Carroll meddling and shit, trying to, bring back the 80s. This team is not that far off. You don't compete in games against three teams that are in the playoffs, man. One of those games we won, right? Other games we competed in until, you know, three turnovers knocked us out of the game. You can't throw three interceptions and compete. But the Raiders, we didn't get smoked in every single game, right? There was games that we were in. NFL Rewind. I will be on tomorrow, and I'll probably see you tomorrow, but I will say happy birthday now, just in case. Can I ask you something? I mean, like you just did. That's the Luke Steckel video. He can't miss this pick. No, you can't miss this pick. And the problem is you have to pick Mendoza right now. Like, you have to. We went out and earned this position to have the number one spot in a year where there's no number one. I don't care what everybody says. Mendoza is a lock. Y'all crazy. Y'all crazy. There is no such thing as a lock in the NFL. They said, I'm not even going to go over the quarterbacks taken first overall that they said was a lock. That turned up to be ass and out of the NFL in a couple years. Because there's many, many, many of those. And the Raiders cannot afford to miss on this pick. But I think, you know, I think they screwed us. I think the NFL is laughing right now. They're like, damn, Raiders fans, you know, thinking they got something good. Raider fans thinking they got the first overall pick and they're going to turn the franchise around. When really we got a first overall pick with a quarterback that everybody believes in. And you know what happens when everybody says that quarterback is a lock? They turn out to not be locks. They turn out to be broken locks. Like a lock that might be playing in the, you know, in coming up in these playoff games. And let's jump into the next topic here. The next topic is the Seattle Seahawks and what they've done since they got rid of Geno Smith, right? They have Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold has an oblique injury. That is huge. He says more than likely he's going to try to play. That's rough, bro. You can't run the ball every single down in football. And speaking of locks, Drew Lock has been taking first team reps. Drew Lock was another one of those guys, wasn't he? Where was he drafted? Another one of those guys high up there in the first round. You know, can't miss, tore it up in college football, has accuracy, is mobile, can run the ball. You know, all those things. Just another one of those quarterbacks. Anyways, Drew Lock could possibly be the next Nick Foles. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I don't know exactly what year it was. I should probably look it up. Matter of fact, I will look it up. But back in the day, right? Back in the day, they drafted a quarterback named Carson Wentz, a rookie quarterback taken second overall, who everybody said was a can't miss. Takes his team to the Super Bowl, gets hurt right before the Super Bowl, and can't play. And Nick Foles steps in and becomes a hero, right? Could that be? Could that be Drew Lock? I mean, Seattle's got a nasty, nasty defense, right? They got a solid offense. And if you can just control the clock, control the football, you control the game, right? '17, 2017 and 18, I do believe. So yeah, you know, one of those stories. Nick Foles sitting on the bench. Your guy gets hurt. Your starting guy, who, by the way, Sam Darnold, a bust in the NFL, right? Where was he drafted? Third, second overall. Let's see. Sam Darnold drafted. Third pick overall in the 2018 NFL Draft. Bounced around the NFL, right? He's a bust. He's not that guy. Why was he taken third overall? Should have never been picked in the first round. He's only two players in NFL history to have 14 wins in back-to-back seasons. So a guy that comes in, a sleeper, the underdog, labeled a bust. A lot of guys are like, oh my God, Sam Darnold. A guy that somebody said, why don't we bring in Sam Darnold 2 years ago? What could it hurt, right? What could it hurt? Sam Darnold goes to Minnesota, has a 14-win season, absolutely kills it over there, goes to Seattle, has another 14-win season, and ends up getting hurt. So hopefully this man can put it all together. He can go out there and play, because it would suck for him, to go through that, to go through the season, have a bye week, and still get injured and not be able to play. So absolutely crazy. Arnie Garza in the building. You can ask him in a minute, but if you send a super chat, you get it quicker. Just send him a super chat if you want the answer right away, right? You're gonna be on tomorrow. Go Broncos. Yeah, I'll be on tomorrow, man. I'll be on watching the Broncos get smoked. Curtis Rourke couldn't beat Michigan or Ohio. Curtis Rourke didn't have the team they have right now. He didn't. I mean, go back and look. Go look at their defense. Go look at their offense. It was not the same. It was not the same. And Cignetti was in his first year at Indiana. Come on, you're not going to come in your first year and beat Michigan and Ohio, right? He didn't know how these teams played. He's never played against them. That's a big different story. So, yes, Curtis Rourke couldn't beat Michigan. He couldn't beat Ohio. And those were two of the best teams in college football that year. He also played with a jacked up ACL. So you got to give the man some credit for that. And their defense, who is top 5 in college football this year, could not stop Ohio State, right? It wasn't just Curtis Rourke. Their defense couldn't stop them. So what's your Mendoza and Rourke comparison is a stretch. How is it a stretch? Go back and watch the film. Or you can come on the channel and break down film if you want to. Question with the 2000 with 23 of free agents, who are your highest priorities to re-sign? We'll have to wait on those questions, man. We'll have to wait, because if you sign guys that are not a fit for the head coach, for the defensive coach, for the offensive coordinator, it just makes no sense. So I have a couple of guys in mind that I would like to see come back, but we could be running a totally different offense, a totally different defense, and where will those guys fit in that situation? So I don't know. LOL, Tom Brady wants yoga instructors that smash his wife. Oh, Lawrence. I mean, the yoga instructor must have been damn good, bro, because she left him left a millionaire for this man. So, but yeah, man, like I said, looking at the trends, bro, if you look at all these redheaded dudes coaching in the NFL, they are killing it. I think Luke Steckel needs to be on that list. I think a couple of guys need to be on our list that are not. Let's get Derek Carr to be the next coach. I wouldn't be mad at Derek Carr coaching. You might have to start off as quarterback coach, then work your way to OC. But if anybody could come in and coach offense, it's Derek Carr, bro. It's Derek Carr. Come on. The dude came to the line of scrimmage with 8 plays in his head. If you don't believe me, ask John Gruden, ask Derek Carr, ask anybody that knows. John Gruden and Derek Carr mastermind. So yes, Derek Carr would come in, run a John Gruden system, probably better than John Gruden did. I believe, with no doubt in my mind, he could definitely easily be offensive coordinator or head coach. I mean, he's had enough head coaches. He's had enough head coaches and enough offensive coordinators to be able to pick and choose which ones he wants to take from. And under Del Rio, under Gruden, I think Derek Carr would be a hell of a head coach. With Dante Moore staying in school, who is the best quarterback in the draft this year? I mean, the most hyped and best quarterback, obviously, if you're looking at accuracy, which I don't know, like I said, they calculate accuracy by catches, not by pinpoint touches. And you got great receivers that make great catches. So, you know, Mendoza's number one, I guess. But if it's me, I'm looking at Trinidad Chambliss, man. I'm looking at a dynamic quarterback that you know has everything that Tom Brady wants except one thing. He's mobile. And Tom Brady does not believe in mobile quarterbacks because he believes it lessens the longevity of a quarterback's lifespan if you're constantly running and getting hit like Jackson Dart. So that's why I believe the Raiders, as long as Tom Brady's in the building, are gonna have a stand in the pocket passer like Tom Brady, and they won't go a mobile quarterback. I don't feel with Brady in the building as minority owner that he would sign off on a mobile quarterback. But I like Trinidad Chambliss an awful lot, and there's not really a lot of quarterbacks. Look, Mateer went back to school. Um, Ty Simpson is, say what you want about Ty Simpson. He didn't have a great offensive line. They didn't have a running game at Alabama like they did in all those championship years. They sure the hell didn't have a defense like they had in any of those championship years. So, you know, Ty Simpson is, to me, special, right? Some of the throws you can look at his progression, how he goes through, all three, four progressions, five if there is five. His, he was number one in the Heisman to start the season until his team around him collapsed. But if you put Ty Simpson in Indiana, I believe they win just as many games and maybe more. They might put up a lot more points because of that his athleticism. But I believe Ty Simpson could run the same system you're running in Indiana. I believe a lot of quarterbacks in college could run the same system that you're running in Indiana, and we'll find out next year when Fernando Mendoza, jumps to the NFL and we see the next quarterback come in and pick up right where he left off and do the same things Curtis Rourke and Mendoza were doing. So if you think I'm off on the Mendoza and Curtis Rourke thing, like I said, anytime you want to come on the show, let me know, email me, we'll pull it up. I'll put on breakdowns. He makes all the same throws, bro. Where is Curtis Rourke now? He is sitting on one of the best staffs in all of football. He is third string on the 49ers and Kyle Shanahan. Why would Kyle Shanahan draft Curtis Rourke in the seventh round if he was a garbage ass quarterback, right? Why would Kyle Shanahan take a chance when he has three quarterbacks already in the building? That's what I'm saying. So where is Curtis Rourke now? Well, if he's still not in the NFL, but I believe he's still on the 49ers roster, and if they didn't have Mac Jones in the building, he would probably have been playing when Purdy got hurt. That's my opinion. Bringing Gruden as OC, Gruden would never stoop to that level. But if he wants to be a coach, as bad as he says, you got to start somewhere. And when you get knocked off the top, you got to start at the bottom. And OC wouldn't be bottom, but that would be crazy as hell to have Derek Carr, the head coach, and John Gruden as the OC. Stop. I mean, we can only dream, right? One is a Heisman Trophy winner going to the ship, and another isn't. Raiders need a quarterback now. Well, for one, Ohio State last year had a Meki Ibuka, right? They also had Travion Henderson, and they also had um, Quinshawn Judkins, bro. Two of the top running backs in the NFL this year as rookies. And not even as rookies. Their stats are still up there, right? So Quinshawn Judkins, NFL starter. Travion Henderson, NFL starter. You know, they also had a better coach, I think, last year calling plays, in my opinion, for what the system had. A guy that went to the NFL that was our coordinator, right? So, um, I mean, you could try to criticize it all you want, but all I'm saying is Indiana is a plug and play quarterback system. I mean, if you could take Curtis Rourke right out of there at 11-2 and go, 13-0 the next year with a guy that comes from Cal that wasn't even talked about being a Heisman, wasn't even talked about being a top first, second, third, or fourth round quarterback last year or the year before, was not in anybody's conversation. And if he was, find me where it was. Please find me where it was. Mendoza drops Jimes, is a total winner. Everybody, come on, man. You guys are high, dude. I'm telling you. When your quarterback throws a ball and your receiver catches the ball with one flipping hand out of bounds, standing on his tiptoes like this and catches the ball, that's not accuracy, bro. That's not a great throw. If you go back and look at Surratt and his great catches this year, tremendous catches, jumping through the building, catching balls way over his head like this with one hand. Omar Cooper, the same thing. Come on, like not every one of these throws were just money throws like everybody says, right? It's not a Peyton Manning year at Tennessee. it wasn't. Now, if Peyton Manning had the team that he has around him, it would be a whole different. Go watch Penn State game, 150 left, winning touchdown. Yeah, it's a winning drive, but I've seen him make winning drives. I also seen Curtis Rourke make those same winning drives last year with a team that wasn't as good. Why is the Raider fan base always struggling to draft a quarterback? First pick since Russell's trauma. That has nothing to do with where I'm at or why at all whatsoever. Yes, they messed up. They drafted a quarterback that didn't study. It's not even the same. Mendoza is a bookworm. He's going to be in the playbook. It's not a dude that you're going to send VCR tapes that are blank and he's not going to know them, right? Mendoza is a bookworm. He has great accuracy. All I'm saying is he struggled at Cal, and not struggled, had damn good year, right? Had more touchdowns than interceptions, had a damn good year with a decent team over there. But you come to Indiana and you have a top 5 running game, a top 10 offensive line, a top 5 or 10 defense, 2 top receivers that are gaining more and more that were talked about being second round. That there's no way Elijah Surratt comes in this NFL draft after being in the national championship, whether they win or lose, and is drafted in the second round, bro. There's no way you could tell me Elijah Surratt or Omar Cooper is a second round quarterback in the NFL. you can't, bro. These dudes are dogs. Now, are they Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson good? I would be one to say they're up there. They're up there. And it's not trauma, bro. As a Raider fan for 50 years, as a person that's got that shit inked on me, bro, for life, right? For life. Ain't going nowhere. I want what's... Tonka! Stop barking at the same fucking people! Y'all need to quit going in and out. Fuck this dog. Shut your ass up. Fucking kids, bro. I swear to God. So yeah, man, I just don't want the Raiders to, to draft a quarterback first overall, and he turns out to be, and he turns out to be, a Carson Wentz, one good year and done. Turns out to be, um, what's the dude drafted for the Jets? Like, I mean, Zach Wilson. Come on, look at all these dudes drafted, and we've talked about it a million times. There's only less than a handful of quarterbacks drafted first overall that have ever succeeded and done shit in the NFL. And these guys were way more talented athletic wise, in my opinion, and didn't succeed. Now, was it the wrong team? Was it the wrong coach? Was it the wrong coaching staff? That could be. But how that could be with the Raiders in Mendoza also. We could bring in the wrong guy that doesn't fit. We could bring in a defensive coach that gets the wrong offensive coordinator and ruins this guy's career like they did Aiden O'Connell. I hear people talking about, oh, let's go get Mendoza because we'll have a rookie contract, a quarterback on a rookie contract for 4 years. We had a rookie quarterback on a rookie contract for 4 years that still has 1 year left that they wouldn't play. Um, so say we trade back and then draft Chambers. Would you want to start at quarterback next year? I I don't care if we're drafting Chambers, Malik Willis. I mean, you go out, you pay Malik Willis, a year or two, 2 year contract or whatever you want to do. If he signs somewhere else, he signs somewhere else. But if you're looking around the NFL at backups that could possibly be starters in the NFL, Malik Willis. If you're looking at a guy that's been on a damn good team in a Matt LaFleur, another Sean McVay disciple, Malik Willis. I mean, if you're bringing in a Trinidad Chambers, that's a mobile quarterback that can throw on the run, that can do all the things that Malik Willis could do, that's who I would go get. I mean, I would kick Gino the hell out the building and bring in Malik Willis. He's a free agent. Like I said, he's been on the Packers. He sat behind Jordan Love. He sat with, he's been on a Matt LaFleur team who's, had their team a winning record since he's been there, right? So why not? Why not draft Trinidad Chambers? Why not? I did a mock draft yesterday, first one, right? Or like third one by myself. I did a mock draft, and of course, the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns offered me both their first this year, their their second overall pick, and their third overall pick, which two first, a second, and a third is not bad, but they're sitting at sixth, right? So I said, what the hell? I'm gonna take it. I took it. They took Fernando. I'll post later the amount of defense I got. I went crazy, right? I went crazy, and I was like, what the hell? We're picking at six. Who was there? It was David Bailey. So I was like, okay, let's get David Bailey. Then a couple picks later, Sonny Styles was still there. So what the hell? I was like, we get two linebackers. We got him. I'm gonna fucking murder that dog. Tonka. Fucking A. Fucking teenagers. 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 So, anyways, I say, what the hell? I took a linebacker, or not the, I don't know which one it was. I think David Bailey. So I took a linebacker. I took another linebacker in the first round. Then in the next round, or yeah, then I had like four picks in the second and the third rounds. I got a corner. I got a tackle. I mean, I got Elijah Surratt, in the second round at pick 68, which there's no way he's going to make it that far. If he does, then the NFL, there's something wrong with that. But I'm telling you, man, I'm telling you. And the problem is, though, is I don't think anybody wants Mendoza. I don't believe the Jets are willing to give up two first round picks and a second to move up one spot. I don't believe, possibly, very, very, very possibly, like small, Paquito, that the Arizona Cardinals might want to move up from, what are they sitting at, the third spot? but still, they're not giving up more than 3 first rounds. And I hear people talking about they would not trade Mendoza for 5 first rounds, for 6 first rounds, for 7 first rounds. Y'all need to put down the damn crack pipe, put down the foil, put down the whatever else, the Brillo, whatever else y'all got, bro. Put that shit down. There is nobody on the planet giving up 6 first round picks for anybody, especially to go one spot. The Jets are gonna give me 6 first round picks for one spot. Come on, bro. Mendoza isn't worth that. As bad as an organization as the Jets are, everybody in that building knows he's not worth that. When they can, just wait and sit back and get a quarterback like a Cade Klubnik that could them, I guarantee you, in the NFL that has plenty of upside. Nussmeier, another guy that's 6'2", 6'3", athletic, has a pretty good arm, can throw it, the whole entire field. Like, why would you risk moving up? So the Raiders now are in a spot where they hyped up Mendoza so much that everybody knows there's no way they're going to try to get Mendoza unless it's a ridiculous amount. So I believe the Raiders are stuck, man. I think we're stuck with this number 1 pick, and it's going to be Mendoza because who else are you going to pick number 1? Ruben Bain? I mean, Arvell Reese? Like, who are we picking number 1? Cardell Tate? Like, there's nobody you're taking number 1. You need a quarterback. He's the only one there, and only the Raiders could Raider and put themselves in this position. I swear. It's only this franchise, man. Only this franchise. So I just don't feel completely comfortable. Who is better, Curtis Rourke, AOC, Robbie Leonard, Trinidad Chambliss? Pick one to start for our team next year. I mean, they're not getting Riley Leonard from the Colts. The Colts, from what I hear, the birdie in my ear, love this kid. They loved him when they drafted him. They drafted him for a reason. They felt like I feel about Riley Leonard. He has all the potential, the size, the mobility, the intelligence to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. So Riley Leonard, I would take, but the Colts are not giving up Riley Leonard, and I would not be surprised if Riley Leonard ends up starting, maybe not the start of the season next year, but during the season, and takes that job, whether they bring back Daniel Jones or not, because Riley Leonard is just him. Curtis Rourke sitting in a Kyle Shanahan system all year, that's valuable experience, right? Valuable experience. Trinidad Chambliss, he's not ready for the NFL. He needs to sit a year, possibly 2, but his age probably doesn't allow him to do that. I believe he's 23. So 2 years will make him 25. Probably not, you don't want to put him in that situation. So I don't think Trinidad Chambliss is ready yet. Aiden O'Connell was 9 touchdowns, 1 interception in his last 7 games as a rookie and got benched. Aiden O'Connell is 21 touchdowns, 22 touchdowns with 11 interceptions through 20 games in his career. A guy that's, the chief killer. So, I mean, you could take your pick, but the logical sense is if you're rebuilding, if you're not worried about how many wins this coaching staff gets, you're going to allow him time to develop, throw AOC out there, man. Throw AOC out there. But I would draft Trinidad Chambliss. Absolutely. Absolutely. Whether it be in the 2nd round, the 3rd round, the 4th round. I don't see anybody taking a chance on him in the 1st. But I'd said the same thing about Anthony Richardson. I said nobody would draft Anthony Richardson in the 1st round unless, they were smoking that bath salt, right? And somebody did. Somebody did. The Colts team that took Riley Leonard. I can't believe it. It happened. There's a team that will be willing to take a Trinidad Chambliss in the 1st round. 90% of the NFL community had Jackson Dart as a second round quarterback. I said I would take him at 6th overall. Y'all said I was crazy, right? He ended up getting taken in the 2nd round. Somebody in the 1st round, somebody moved back up to get him. So no matter where people, Tonka. So no matter where, the experts say that these guys are going to go or where they might end up, they're never right, bro. They're never right. They're wrong 99% of the time more than they are right. It's a 90% of quarterbacks in the league. That's what's 90% of quarterbacks in the league. Hey Rebel, I like this channel, good show, but then again, don't trust no one but yourself. I hope you have a good day. Ricky Diaz, appreciate you, my guy. Yeah, I live and die by DTA. Rebel, name two things you like about Mendoza. I like his intelligence. I think he's very, very intelligent. I love his enthusiasm for the game. I love his hype. I love the way he talks. I like his accuracy on certain times. But from my film breakdown, the accuracy that they say is accurate has a lot to do with great, great, great wide receiver play. If it's not Elijah Surratt, if it's not Omar Cooper Jr., it's um, what's the other um, Charles Becker Becker. It's Williams, right? They're fullback. They got one of the baddest fullbacks in all of the planet. So um, I just don't agree with everybody else's accuracy, but I love his love of the game. I love I don't love. I like his love of the game. I like his enthusiasm for the game and his interviews and shit. I just watching his game, watching Indiana, and going back and looking at Curtis Rourke last year really opened my eyes. And I've said it before I went back and looked at Curtis Rourke last year because I had Curtis Rourke on my list of quarterbacks last year. I had him at like fourth. I do believe it was Jackson Dart, it was Riley Leonard, it was Tyler Shuck, and it was Curtis Rourke. I believe those were my top four. They didn't have Cam Ward or you know or the other cat in there at all. So even if Mendoza is average, that is still better than Gino by a long shot. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I get it. But however, was it worth pissing off Max Crosby, benching him for 2 games because we wanted the first overall spot to get a quarterback that may or may not turn out to be that guy, right? That has a higher percentage and statistical rate to not be that guy in the NFL than he does to be that guy, right? I mean, just go back and look at the last 25 NFL drafts. You can Google it. It'll tell you every player that was drafted and where they were if you want to take the time to do it. And tell me, out of those 25 years, the last 25 years, tell me how many first overall pick quarterbacks have won a Super Bowl and made it to the playoffs. And then go back and tell me how many first round quarterbacks, because there's 10 times more first round quarterbacks that have made it to a playoff or a Super Bowl than there are first overall quarterbacks. And I know statistics don't mean anything. Statistics are made to be broken, and some people have the character and the characteristic character to do that shit. But I mean, when the odds are against you and stacked very, very high, it's not good, man. I just want us to be good. I just don't want us to be relevant again. I want the Raiders to win football games, and I don't want to be sitting here going, damn, bro. I told y'all, if this dude turns out to not be the guy everybody thinks he is, right? If it's, 3 years and we have a new head coach and we're still winning 5 or 6 games a year, damn, what good did that do? Okay, we won more games. We got shittier draft picks and we accomplished nothing. Nothing. The same thing we've done for the last 25 years as a franchise. We've accomplished absolutely jack shit. We have no coaches that we could promote within. The ones we do are not getting looks, like Patrick Graham, Robbie Leonard, Luke Steckel, right? None of these guys are getting talks. None of them getting looks anywhere else because this franchise is bad, right? You don't have a coach that, could leave or be fired and you can promote within. We don't have but one or what, three blue chip players. And Crosby wasn't even a blue chip player. He was a fourth round that we got lucky and became a blue chip player. But drafted wise, I mean, who do we got? Who do we got? Who do we got? Brock Bowers, Ashton Genty, Those are blue chips. Other than that, man, we got, you know, not a lot, not a lot. So, Derek Carr, I believe, and David Carr said it best. Go out in the first couple rounds, draft a couple hog mollies, get those big dogs, whether it be defense, whether it be offense. Shore up the trenches, be able to get to the quarterback, be able to protect your quarterback, and then think about bringing in a guy, right? We've talked about how the Chicago Bears did it. We talked about how the Patriots did it. We've talked about how all these good teams have done it. All those teams weren't getting a first year head coach. All those teams weren't getting a first year offensive coordinator. All those teams weren't getting a rookie quarterback, right? And for the next segment, let's swing into this. Speaking of coaches in their first year and quarterbacks in their first year, no percentage, no breakdowns, just a list. Just a list. We might break it down later. Yeah, here we go. All right. Like to hit? Here it go. In 2026, the Raiders in 2026 can join this list of teams. And not a long list of teams that you probably want to join, but we were going to break it down. First, could join this. Oh shit! Could join a long list of teams. Common draft era to start a season with a number one quarterback, with the number one pick quarterback on the roster and a new coach. Let's see if y'all can figure out if any of these worked out for these coaches and these teams. The first one. 2021, the Jacksonville Jaguars brought in the GOAT, Urban Meyer, right? Killing it in the NFL. I mean, in college football. Championship after championship. Always in the mix, right? The SEC, Urban Meyer. Well, he decided to go to Jacksonville, jump from college to the NFL. They select the first overall pick in the NFL draft, Trevor Lawrence. I do believe 1 year later, maybe two, Urban Meyer was fired. Can the Raiders afford to do that? No, we can't. 2019, the Arizona Cardinals bring in another college guy, Cliff Kingsbury. They draft Kyler Murray in the first round of the NFL draft. I do believe first overall. Yes, the number one pick. They draft Kyler Murray. 2 years later, they make it to a playoffs. They fall to shit after that. 2012. The Colts, Indianapolis. They bring in Chuck Pagano. They draft Andrew Luck. Worked out pretty good. You know, made it to the playoffs. But Andrew Luck called it quits. And I do believe Chuck Pagano was fired before he did call it quits. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. 2011, the Panthers, right? They got to bring in a new coach. They go with defensive guy Ron Rivera. Kind of like the AP and the Raiders, right? They bring in the Ron Rivera type. Gritty, tough guy, right? It's going to change the culture. They pair him with Cam Newton. Okay. Carolina Panthers were pretty good with Cam Newton. I'm not going to lie. They made it to a Super Bowl. They probably could have won if Cam Newton would have bent down and picked up a fumble that was on the ground instead of worrying about his nails or his hair or whatever he was worried about. Shout out to Cam Newton. 2019, the Detroit Lions select Matthew Stafford with Jim Schwartz, who is, I do believe, the defensive coordinator for who the hell is he the defensive coordinator for? Son of a biscuit. It'll come to me. So, Jim Schwartz, they bring in. I lost my place. Hold up. Fuck. Timeout. Oh, Jim Schwartz, they bring in Matthew Stafford in 2007. Y'all should know this. If you're a Raiders fan, if you bleed silver and black, and you do not know this question, who did the Las Vegas Raiders bring in as head coach in 2007, and who did they draft that year? first overall. I mean, I gave it away with the first overall draft. If you don't know that, please exit my chat now. I'm just um, the Las Vegas Raiders, I'll give it away. Bring in high flying USC under Pete Carroll guy, Lane Kiffin. And they draft LSU, cough syrup, sipping syrup himself, Jamarcus Bust Russell. 2005, the 49ers under Mike Nolan. They decide to draft Alex Smith first overall. It's no worky very good there. It's no worky with the other team. He goes to Kansas City. He does pretty well. They win 13 games. He gets replaced by Mahomes. You know, great run for that first round quarterback, right? I really don't see Mendoza being any different than an Alex. That's pretty good comp. You know, now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, Alex Smith, Mendoza, you know, accuracy, can move a little bit, decisiveness, speed. I can't even bake. Yeah. Mike Nolan, Alex Smith, 49ers. I think that Tom Coughlin and the Giants select Eli Manning. You know, won a Super Bowl, turned out to be pretty good damn quarterback. He was a Manning, should be a different story. First coach, first year, Tom Coughlin, Eli Manning. The Bengals and the Raiders' former Marvin Lewis. First overall pick, Carson Palmer. You know, they had a run. Was all right. Made it to a couple playoff games. You're not impressed? Neither am I. Bill Parcells, 1993. The New England Patriots hire the big dog, Bill Parcells. Who drafts? Drew Bledsoe, number 1 overall. Who gets replaced by Tom Brady. Drew Bledsoe did have a pretty good career though. Not too bad. Not too bad. He bounced around. I do believe. Jimmy Johnson, 1989 with the Cowboys. Jimmy Johnson, a new coach, comes in. Troy Aikman. They had a horrible first year, but they won 2 Super Bowls together. Shout out to Jimmy Johnson and the GOAT Troy Aikman, who could very well be the Miami GM or shit, maybe even the head coach by the time we're done. Who knows? 1987, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Ray Perkins, Vinny Testaverde. They were an expansion team that year, just so y'all know. If you don't know, now you know. My ninjas. 1975, great year. A lot of great people were born that year. Some geniuses. 1975, the Falcons with Mario Campbell. And 1971, Pats with John Mazur. Did it with the intern coaching job. And I just got a note. The next Raider anthem is about to be crazy. You mean the one that said, Gino is my quarterback? Yeah, he's like that. Stop playing. I don't know how to fuck. All right, my bad. So, yes, those are the quarterbacks, you know, that had first round coaches. And none of them, but 2 or 3, turned out to be worth a shizen. However, we can bring up this statistic, right? Raiders Heisman Trophy winners. Marcus Allen, 1991. Tim Brown, 1997 Notre Dame. Charles Woodson, 87 for Tim Brown. 97 for C. Wood, Michigan. Jim Plunkett, Heisman Trophy winner at Stanford. Although he was not drafted a Raider, he was still a Raider. Drafted to the Patriots. And Bo to the Jackson. 1985. Bo knows football. Bo knows baseball. Too bad Bo couldn't stay healthy. What could have been for the Las Vegas Raiders? Got rid of Marcus Allen and then lost Bo also. Moment of silence. So, you know, Mendoza could enter that list of Marcus Allen, Tim Brown, Charles Woodson, Jim Plunkett, and Bo Jackson, who all turned out to be pretty well. Rebel, let's be happy for the Raiders. Hope with Mendoza, there is a lot of Mendoza hate. Who's hating on Mendoza? All I've seen is everybody say this dude is a can't miss. He is a sure pick. He is, a Heisman Trophy winner. He is the GOAT. I don't get where everybody's saying all this, bad talk about. I thought I was the only one that didn't want Mendoza. I definitely feel like I'm the only Raider that doesn't want Mendoza. If you know another one, please let me know. So Mendoza chops up Miami. Does that change your mind? It does. It does. Does it change my mind because of the system he's in? No. But let me tell you this: if he goes out, if he has a turnover, an interception, if Miami's in the lead and they come from behind, and he's the key part of that, then absolutely, absolutely. And I'm not saying he's not a first round pick. Don't misunderstand me. Don't, right? I'm not saying he wouldn't be great for 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th in the draft, right? Somewhere in there. Top 10 though. Top 10. I mean, God, I hope to God everybody's right. I hope. I pray. Look, I want Mendoza to be special like everybody else. But to me, I just feel like I'm not doing my due diligence to come up here and tell everybody that this dude is a can't miss, gas everybody up, get everybody thinking like, the Raiders is about to change. And then when he comes out and performs like Geno did last year, everybody be like, damn, Rebel, you said that was a can't miss. No, no, no. I did my homework. He's definitely, a first round quarterback. In other years, yes. Last year, where would he go? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Talent wise, is he better than Shador? Shador's pretty crafty. Yes, he takes a lot of sacks. Yes, he made some bad throws in the NFL. There's a lot of talk saying Shador should have been number one. And most of it was from Raider Nation content creators screaming, Shador number one, Shador six, Shador at six, Shador at six. Shador fell to the fifth. So, you know what I mean? Like, everybody wants to get clicks, and, that's the biggest thing being talked about. You didn't see Mendoza on the cover of any of my shit but one thing, right? I'm not up here to get clicks. I'm here to talk football. I'm here to give my opinion, to give y'all, an avenue to explore your own opinion by just doing your due diligence like everybody else, and do your homework. It's not hard. It's not hard to pop on the tape and just ask, shit, whatever you got. Ask your Siri, ask your Alexa, or, use those fingers and type in YouTube Mendoza highlights. They look great. But then watch Curtis Rourke, and then you'll be like, damn, which one was which? which one was which? You're not going to know. My dog has teenagers going fuck in and out of the house constantly. I don't know what the hell they're doing. But whoever is here, she does not like. Because she don't bark at people she likes. So she's being an ass, though. Soon, you'll start saying some BS. The dog shuts up. Stop playing. Stop playing, bro. The dog agrees. The dog knows what's up. Dog knows what's up. John 7 in the building. What's good, my guy? Yeah, you're gonna have to put yeah, I'm gonna have to put a tranquilizer, a muzzle, something in the dog's food. And the messed up thing is, her mom ain't even come home yet. This is just kids going in and out of the house because it's Friday, and I don't know. This is like the hangout session. Indiana coach is a true leader, 1,000%. He refuses failure. Only knows how to win. Team victory for Indiana Monday. Will not be denied. Arnie Garza, that is great. I love the fact that you believe in Signetti. I know he comes from one of the greatest football trees to ever exist. You know, however, everybody gets beat, and there's a lot of people that are underestimating Mario Cristobal. This dude is the same. He's an offensive lineman. He's a big dude that's gonna get people to listen to him. You're gonna get people to run through brick walls. He's gonna get the best out of this team. Don't believe the hype and think that Miami's sitting there not watching and listening to everything everybody's saying about how they don't have a chance in hell whatsoever. Don't think that Carson Beck, a two-time national champion, in the championship again after transferring schools to Texas, to Miami, that wasn't even in the talks of being this good this year. Don't think Carson Beck is not watching this. Don't think this dude is not going to go out and have a hell of a game. Miami's running backs, like, I know Signetti's a damn good coach. I know he comes from the Nick Saban tree. I know he's not going to be denied. But just remember two things. You said it yourself. You said it yourself. Curtis Rourke could not beat Michigan, and he could not beat Ohio State last year. Who was their head coach? Who was their head coach? It was Mr. Signetti, right? Same coach, different team, a lot more weapons this year, a lot more experience. So don't be surprised. Um, yeah, the dog is downstairs. Raider Nation picking for tomorrow. Your dog loves the Hoosiers. Dog is a Razorbacks fan, dog. Don't even try that. Don't even try that. How's the weather? It is a little chilly. It's a little chilly on my willy. I think it's your niece messing with the dog. No, she's got like seven friends over, five friends over there, and they're constantly in and out of the house. I laugh at Mike McDaniel and Tyreek both end up in KC. That's classic, bro. That's classic. That's a good one. Um, and I did not think about that. I did not think about that. Tyreek back in KC would definitely be classic, bro. It would be classic. It would be laughable. I'm sure Mahomes would love that more than anything to have a speedster that he knows is going to go out and catch the ball. But I just don't feel Tyreek Hill is going to be the same player coming off that injury. I mean, he is small, you know, he does have a tiny body. Like, if anybody can do it, it's him. But you're going to definitely lose some speed. And I think his whole game, you know, came down to speed. Route running was definitely great. Okay, not great. The route running was good. You know, I think his speed helped a lot of that route running. So, all I'm saying, yeah, that would be hilarious, man. That would be hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Just coming in late. Are you against drafting Mendoza? I'm okay. I'm not against it. I'm not against it. However, I'm not for it. It's right. It's I'm in a pickle, man. I'm in a pickle. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Damn, my hair gets jacked up when I wear this beanie. It's time to put on a hat because it's hot as hell in here. Ooh, here we go. Hat on standby. Oh, that's much better. Well, now it's rubbing on my shit. I'm not against drafting Mendoza, man. If they draft Mendoza, I'm gonna be happy with it. You know, I'm gonna talk this dude up like I did Gino for the first, couple days until I went over and found all kinds of shit why I knew he wasn't gonna be good. But no, I'm not against drafting Mendoza. I just have a hard time falling for the media scrutiny and the media hype of how this dude is a number one quarterback. I mean, I don't see it. I don't see it. Again, look at Curtis Rourke last year and do your own comparison and come on tomorrow and let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. Look at them side by side, man. If you have to, play one, play the other, play the other. It's the exact same offense. It's the exact same throws. Some are better. Some are better by Curtis Rourke. The mobility, the escapability from Curtis Rourke, I thought was way better. There was a bunch of plays where it looked like he was dead to rights with a big defensive tackle and an edge dude both sides of him. And somehow at 6'4", he ducks down and squeezes through these dudes and rolls out, gets his hips around, and throws the ball 30 yards downfield for a strike. So I don't know, man. I don't know. And I like I said, I'm not against drafting him. I don't think there's anybody to trade back for. I don't think there's anybody a position that we need that's unless you go with Caleb Downs. But then you're drafting a safety number 1 overall. Come on, man. Like that would be worse than drafting Ashton Genty 6th overall. It would be. Not saying he wouldn't be good. I know he's definitely worth the pick. But the critics, the community in football, college, and NFL would lose their mind if the Raiders took a safety 1st overall. It's been a long time since anybody's taken a receiver. Basically, there's not too many picks you take 1st overall. It's got to be a tackle that you believe is that can't miss dude, a quarterback, or a defensive end. Like, other than that, how many players go 1st overall that are not those positions? So no, I'm not gonna hate if they draft Mendoza if there's no trade offers. But I'm telling you, if somebody calls and says, I got a 1st round pick, we'll swap 1st round picks, and I have, a 1st round next year and a 2nd and a 3rd this year, you really have to look at that. You really have to look at that. I mean, it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you're just moving up from 2 to 1, or from 3 to 1, or from 4 to 1, right? I think 2 1st round picks and a 2nd and a 3rd is way overpaying. And if somebody's willing to give you that and overpay, man, you have to jump on that shit. Brady should hire Julian Edelman to as a receiver coach. Dude was a dog with his routes. I talked about that 2 weeks ago, right? We broke down OCs, DCs, and head coaches that I thought would be a perfect fit, knowing their background, knowing their history, of with each other. I had on there, and one, the sleeper as a surprise OC or even a head coach. Really, I wouldn't be surprised. Is Julian Edelman and the other receiver, Wes Welker. Wes Welker is a receivers coach right now, and I believe a quarterback coach with hold on. Hey Siri, where is Wes Welker right now?
The Rams and the 49ers played at Levi's Stadium.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about. That's not what I asked. But hold on. The fuck is Google? Wes Welker. He is high school position, current position, coaching. Oh, he's the wide receivers coach for the Miami Dolphins as we speak. Or maybe not as we speak. It says 2022 to 2024. Oh, he's with the Washington Commanders personnel assistant. So, a guy that was the 49ers wide receiver coach. Wait, let's go back before that. 2017 and 18, he was the offense and special teams assistant. He was also the 49ers wide receiver coach 2019 to 2021. And Wes Welker was also the Miami Dolphins 2022 to 24 wide receivers coach. And now, present, he is the Washington Commanders personnel assistant. So, Wes with his 3-time NFL receptions leader, 5-time Pro Bowler, 2-time second all team, 2-time first all team Big 12, second all team Big 12. You know, the credentials are there, the coaching experience isn't there. But I wouldn't be surprised if, Tom Brady is like, damn it, if we're gonna go get a young coach, let's bring in a Wes Welker, right? Let's bring in a guy that, is 36 years old, a dude that I could definitely influence on, how I want to run the offense and run this team from afar. I think it would make a lot of sense. Julian Edelman or Wes Welker. If Mendoza is as good as Goff, is it a win? I mean, I guess. I mean, drafted first overall though. First overall, you're supposed to be the best player in the draft. I don't see how it could be a win. I mean, Jared Goff is great, right? Didn't he make it to a Super Bowl with the Rams? Did they win that Super Bowl or they lost? I do believe he's made it to a Super Bowl. Drafted high, got traded. These fucking kids, bro. Drafted high, was traded. I mean, I guess it's not, it's not a fail. It's not a fail. He's a guy that's gonna take your team to the playoffs, but I don't know if it's because of his age or what, but he can't get over the hump with 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 St. Brown. You got Armand St. Brown. You got a great running back right over there. You can't get over the hump with these guys. I just don't know. I have to question that shit. Tonka, shut the fuck up. So I don't know, man. I mean, golf is good, yes, but I'm not. I would be very disappointed drafting a quarterback in the first round if he takes us to the playoffs and we lose every year. It's a fucking. It's a, I mean, I don't know. Rod 28 was good, was good, was good. Ready for the Rams Sunday? Yeah, I'm ready to watch some football. Salute, brother, cheering for the Seahawks to beat the 49ers. Yes, man. I gotta go for the Seahawks, even though they gave us a, a Pete Carroll and a Geno Smith. I just can't root for the 49ers. Playing along elite defenses behind Mac Jones and Flores helped Darnold. Playing behind elite defenses will help any quarterback because number one, it's going to give you more possessions. More possessions equal more yards, more touchdowns, more points on the board. So for any quarterback, you want a top 10, top 5, number one defense, right? Every quarterback's dream is to have your defense when you make a mistake and throw an interception, go out there and in 3 plays get you right back on the field to make up for it, right? That's what everybody wants. That's what everybody hopes for. So, yeah, playing behind those guys should make everybody better. Just like playing behind Geno Smith or sitting behind Geno Smith, should make Aiden O'Connell better. Whether it was, better or not, he should learn what not to do, what to do. Raiders Unleashed, shout out with the $5 slammy. Do you want Mendoza to be drafted since they won't trade enough for him? I don't have a choice, right? I don't have a choice. So, I mean, I if we want a quarterback for the future, you take Mendoza or you take a shot. And we're in Vegas. Roll the damn dice. Roll the damn dice. Beat this dog. Jesus. Angel Eyes, what it do, what it do. Furpo in the building. Raiders. Dog trying to yell Raiders too. Did you see the Carr brothers say the Raiders shouldn't draft Mendoza on their podcast? Yes, I've seen the Carr brothers. And if anybody knows football, and like Derek Carr said, if anybody could change the Raiders and knows how to fix the Raiders, it's Derek Carr. And will the Raiders listen to him? Will Mark Davis listen to him? Probably not. But there's a reason. There's a reason they don't want to draft Mendoza. And Carr talks up every quarterback. I mean, he's even said Geno Smith could be the Raiders quarterback next year. But he's saying don't draft Mendoza. It's not because of Mendoza's not good. It's because The team is not ready. And I've said this, man. I've said this for months. I said it last year when they were trying to get Shador. We're just not prepared to draft a quarterback. And is every team prepared to draft a quarterback? Absolutely not. But not every team is a jacked up ran organization like the Raiders, right? Not every team has a new coach every year, a new offense coordinator, keep guys in house, doesn't keep guys in house, right? Not every team is the Raiders. Nobody can relate to what this team has gone through in the last 20 years except Raider fans. And I love the fact that Carr keeps hinting around, at a um, Kubiak reunion with possible Carr playing or as the OC or the quarterback coach or whatever. Anytime you want to bring Derek Carr in the building, I'm 100% for it. Raiders, 100%. Jason Ruiz, what it do? It was a joke about bringing up an OC, but Brady never happened. No, Brady don't like Derek Carr. Brady don't like John Gruden. I've said this before. If you want conspiracy theories, if you want, shit that might possible come out in a little bit, it just makes no sense to me that Tom Brady, before he went to Tampa Bay, wanted to be a Raider. He was gonna be the Raiders quarterback. John Gruden said, I want Derek Carr. And if you think that story is bullshit, go listen to Tom Brady himself tell the story about how he was going to be the Las Vegas Raiders quarterback. Already had the deal worked out with Mark Davis, was not going to go to Tampa, was going to be a Raider. And John Gruden said, no, 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 no. If you bring in Tom Brady, I'm out. You can get a new head coach. Pay me my money. I'm done. I want Derek Carr. So Tom Brady does not like Derek Carr for that reason. Derek Carr, with Josh McDaniels, was the head coach, I'm sure, was released because of Tom Brady. I'm probably 100% positive John Gruden not being a Las Vegas Raider and those emails could have something to do with that as well. What better way to get in a building that nobody wants you in, but to get rid of the one person that doesn't want you in the building, right? Just makes a lot of sense to me. The Raiders should hire Cliff Kingsbury. Hell no. Hell no. Holy shit, we can move on from Carr and Gruden already. I mean, we can move on from Carr and Gruden already, but, they're always going to be in talks. If you know anything about the Raiders, nobody is more trusted by Mark Davis than John Gruden. Nobody. Nobody is trusted more than Derek Carr. The Derek Carr situation was a business situation. Derek Carr said he still talks to Mark Davis daily, on the daily. So they're not ever going to go away, man. And if you're a true Raiders fan, once a Raider, always a Raider, right? Right? Isn't that how we roll? I mean, shit, I got a hat somewhere that says that shit. Look, right here, look. Once a Raider, always a Raider, bro. That's our motto. So to be a Raider fan and not want to talk about Derek Carr, are you a Raider fan? Or are you just a Carr and Gruden hater? Because these dudes are always going to be part of the nation, whether people like them, don't like them, hate them, or dislike them. Both of those names, Derek Carr, and John Gruden, will constantly be in every talks when it comes to a head coaching cycle or a quarterback cycle until Carr is too old to not play and John Gruden is somewhere else head coaching. It's just facts, man. It's just facts. Not everybody hates on these two. Not everybody, believes that they should have ended the way it ended. Grow balls, Raider Nation. No Gruden. The man doesn't give a shit about us. He came for the money to make shitty picks, traded away great players, smarten up morons. Knees nuts. That is wild, bro. That is wild. That is wild. I don't appreciate you calling me a moron. I think it's kind of rude. Fucking. But, however, my guy, Gruden did not come here for the money. Gruden loves this team. He loves the players that are still in the building. He still talks to a bunch of them on the daily. Gruden still wears Raiders shirts, bro. Gruden still has every one of his play sheets from every game ever as a Raider. You don't keep that shit if you hate this organization, bro. Gruden loves the Raiders. Would do anything to get another shot to coach this team. So I know the hate, and I know he had bad drafts, but was Max Crosby a bad draft pick? I mean, where would we be without Max Crosby? So we can talk about the Damon Arnett's. We can talk about uh, we could talk about the Alex Leatherwoods, right? We could talk about all these guys that drafted that got released and went somewhere else. Some of them good, some of them not, right? We can talk about Cleve Farrell, who starting to come around once he getting that time. So did John Gruden really have that bad of draft picks? Because if you look at every coach in the history of the NFL and every organization, not every organization hits on all 8, 7, 10, 11, 12, or 15 draft picks, however many they have. There's always a couple of those that don't do shit for a couple years, right? So yes, John Gruden had bad drafts. John Gruden drafted people that, maybe he didn't do his homework on as he should. But he also had Mike Mayock in the building, and these guys came up with the plan together. They also had other coaches in the building and Mark Davis in the building, right? So it wasn't just Gruden that said, "I want this guy." Yes, he had the final say, but how many of those were Gruden picks? Do we know? Were we in the building? Do we have footage of him saying, Alex Leatherwood is my guy? We're not backing down from this? Or was it the offensive line coaches or the scouts saying, hey, this is your guy. This is the guy you want. And Gruden believing in his scouts, because that's what every head coach does. They believe in their scouts, right? Your scouts bring in guys. They bring in their stat sheets. They bring in their reports on these guys, and then they make a decision together. So, you can't blame it all on Gruden. And I agree. He had some bad drafts. But he also has some players like Amik Robinson, who's killing it still in the NFL. Josh Jacobs, killing it still in the NFL, right? There was some draft picks. That are dogs and still playing in the NFL. So Gruden is not that bad of a talent evaluator. And again, like I said, you have scouts. And most of the time there's a vote in the room. This guy, everybody say yay, everybody say no. If you say no, you have, so many minutes to evaluate or to give your presentation on why you think that's the wrong pick. And then they all come together, unless, like we said, we don't know, but unless Gruden just said no and overruled everybody for all the bad picks, which I don't see being the case, you got to give the dude some credit. I mean, we got a lot of good players from that also. Take Mendoza. At least Gruden was better than Pete Carroll. I mean, shit. Art Shell was better than Pete Carroll. Fucking. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Lane Kiffin was better than Pete Carroll. So, yeah. Dude, what are you talking about? Most of them are great throws. I mean, I don't. Maybe your idea of great and my idea of great are totally different. They're totally different. But I've seen Derek Carr make great throws too, and people run him out of the building. So what does that mean? Like, what does that mean? He was also athletic, mobile, has more comebacks than anybody in Raiders history, and is fourth all time, I do believe, in most comebacks in the NFL history. So yeah, you can make great throws, and not all of them are great throws, bro. When your receiver's jumping 3 feet off the ground to catch a ball, or jumping to stop the ball from going out of bounds, or touching the goalpost to catch a touchdown, it's not a great throw. Like I said, maybe we see differently on what a great throw is and what a great throw isn't. Navy vet in the building. What it do? Shit, I lost my spot. Damn it. Trade back with Cleveland for both their first round picks this year and Sanders and their second round pick. But why would Cleveland want to move up, though? Just answer me that. Why would they want to move up? Who is there to get? They have 2 quarterbacks in the building that they need to, evaluate and see what they have with those players. Yes, you can move up, but Cleveland, I mean, even as bad as they are, that's franchise suicide to to trade your 2 first-round picks this year and some other picks to move up to get Fernando Mendoza when you lost 4 offensive linemen in free agency this year? Crazy talk. Where do you think the Raiders are with Aiden O'Connell? I have no idea where they're at with Aiden O'Connell, but if you listen to Tom Brady and everything he says about what he wants in a quarterback, he's got one sitting in the building wearing his number. Everything that Tom Brady said he wants in a quarterback, Aiden has done. He sat 8th string, worked his way up through Purdue. He could have transferred. He had transfer offers to go to other teams. Aiden O'Connell decided to stay with Purdue, right? Could have left. He didn't. Adversity, plenty of it. Well, ask me this. Answer me this. Even with Indiana as great as they are, how many 5-touchdown games has Fernando Mendoza had in college? How many did Aiden O'Connell have? With Purdue against Michigan State in a bowl game. So I don't know where we're at with Aiden O'Connell, but there's a reason he's still in the building. And it's not because he's making $1.4 million and he was hurt all year, right? There's got to be a reason. Tom Brady last year was doing film with Cam Miller and Aiden O'Connell. Cam Miller is no longer in the building. Aiden O'Connell is still here. We should trade back, draft the best O-line, and let AOC rock out. I'd be down to let AOC rock out with his cock out for a whole season. Now, could he make it through a whole season? That's questionable. That's very, very questionable. He is very injury prone. He is fragile like glass. I'm not going to lie. You'd have to have a damn good offensive line and protect the shit out of him. But he showed in the last game of the season. Game-winning drive. No problem. Running for first downs if he has to. Came up a little short. I won't say no problem, but he could do it, right? So, I don't know where they're at. I don't know where they're at with this rebuild. I don't know where they're at with the coaches. I don't know if that's a question, in the interview. What do you think about Aiden O'Connell? Go back and watch some film on this kid, and what do you think about him? You think we could rock with him for a year and get our quarterback next year? Raiders are the worst team in the NFL. Ouch. Those teenagers need to stop running in and out of the fucking house. Who are you, Mom? But yes, they do. I agree 100%. Trade back to Cleveland. Okay, that's where I was. You need to trank the tweens. Yeah, trank the tweens, not the dogs. Right? Right? Running in and out, making the dog bark. I think they got in the car and left, so hopefully there should be no more of that. Shout out to everybody in the building. 23 rocking with your guy. If you could hit that like button, if you're picking up what I'm putting down and you like these hot takes, think about subscribing, becoming a member to the channel. Helps me out. Teflon Don. Teflon Don. Raiders are cheeks. Bro, you got a name like Teflon. You talking about my Raiders? Stop playing. Shouldn't you be in an oven or a microwave somewhere? Good, just chilling and smoking, drinking coffee. This late? Why are you drinking coffee? Heavens. Coffee. Nice, just at work, not busy. Nice. Boo! Bye-bye, Raiders. Let's welcome Buffalo Bills to the Super Bowl. Well, I mean, your Buffalo Bills, they very well could be in that spot, right? They just got to beat the Donkeys, and then they got one more. I mean, it could happen, bro. It could happen. And wouldn't it be great to see, not a Bills fan, but to see the Buffalo Bills back in the Super Bowl when they made it 3 years in a row with Jim Kelly and couldn't win one. I had a small coffee today and got rid of my headache. Nice. Coffees get rid of headaches? Damn, I should have took one yesterday. I had a migraine all day. I don't drink coffee though. Right? It's a little late for coffee. Yes, it's very late for coffee. Unless you want to be all, jacked up on Mountain Dew like a spider monkey and shit. Probably not as bad as candy with 10 bottles a day. Well, yeah, that's and then she wonders why I can't stop shaking. Can you call you Raider Nation? I call this bye Raider Nation. Welcome. Yeah, we see you, Bills fan. We see you. Don't make sure you come back in here. If they lose, right? So I can talk shit. I won't talk shit right now because they're playing the Broncos and I hope they win. But then after that, then come in here. That's what I mean. I think they're they're just coming in and out of the house. They walk by, the dog barks. They just don't like one of them. Used to drink 2 pots a night when I worked graveyard for my job. Oh damn, 2 pots of coffee a night? Holy shit, that's crazy. This dog. I guess they didn't leave. I had to stay up for a caregiver for the elderly, so I had to stay up and make sure nobody dies in their sleep. Well, you should probably drink coffee then. I mean, when you put it like that, Navy vet, you should definitely be on something. Some Red Bull, it gives you wings, some coffee. You can't have nobody dying in their sleep on your watch. That would be horrible. I got a hot take. Dylan Gabriel winning MVP next season? Okay, elaborate on that. I mean, I'm not just gonna push your hot take to the side. 32 Glock 41? Or is it GLK? Not Glock? I'm just guessing. I don't know. But let me know. Let me know why you think Dylan Gabriel has a chance to be MVP. Shout out for the $2 boo. Raiders. Raiders are the pussies in the NFL. I'm not a bot. Well, I bet you wouldn't be at a Raider game in Las Vegas in the J lot. Or any other lot saying that shit. I bet you wouldn't. Pussies, no. Bad, yes. I guarantee there's a lot of Raider fans that disagree with that pussy statement, and I am one of them. Most fumbles in raid? What does that mean? We need Mendoza and a good coach. Either Blood Raiders, no Tesh. What the fuck is a Tesh? No Tish? No Tish like Old Man Loser and Scenario Sluiceless. It's a tune. The Raiders, let's go Raiders. Shout out to you. Could read all of it, but facts to the part that I could read. Would you rather fight Diddy or R. Kelly? Can't fight them both at the same time? I fight them both at the same time. I ain't trying to fight Diddy because I might have to put him in a headlock and take him to the ground, and you don't know what's gonna happen with that shit. So, yeah, I ain't trying to do that. You don't know what the hell Diddy gonna try to do. But I ain't scared of either one, bro. Let's get Gino. He's very consistent. Okay. Oh shit, you're dabbing? Damn, I'm cleaning the shot. Smoking dabs. No, I'm not. Only trading the number 1 pick to the Jets, and my asking price is 4 first round picks. Y'all say hi to Mitchell Rand's burner account. My guy Perry in the building. I'm asking price is 4 first round picks, no less than that. Just have 5 first round picks for the next year. I want 4 of them for Mendoza. You ain't getting 4. You ain't getting 3. You'd be lucky if the Las Vegas Raiders were offered 2 first rounds, 1 this year, 1 next year, and maybe a second and a third, and maybe a second and a third this year and a second next year. It might be like that, but four, come on. If they get offered 3 first rounds and they turn it down, psh, psh. Tim Brown told Raider owner, shout out to West Philly Black. Tim Brown told I'm trying to read your name. Tim Brown told Raiders owner that they are unwatchable. It has been 42 years since Raiders won a Super Bowl. Um, I agree with Tim Brown. I agree with Tim Brown. Unfortunately for Tim Brown, he doesn't bleed silver and black as much as I do because I could never say this team is unwatchable. You know, I can't not watch. Like even when it's bad, even when I'm yelling and screaming at the TV and nobody can hear me, right? I can't not watch. But I could see why you could say they're unwatchable if you're a Raiders alum and you were, on a team that won 2 AFC championships. You were, 1,000-yard receiver on nothing but bad teams. I could see that. I could see that. And Tim Brown also said he would do anything he can to help, but Mark Davis doesn't pick up the phone and reach out to Tim Brown, right? He said, any way I can help. I don't want to coach, but just you have questions, if you need me to talk to the players, if you need me to talk to the fans, Tim Brown said he's there. Tim Brown said he's there. So shout out to Tim Brown. Maybe Mark Davis should take him up on his offer and see what Tim Brown, has to say about who he bring in the building. With Lamar and Mahomes out, what? Mahomes out the way. Oh, it's a smooth ride to the Super Bowl for the Bills. You know, I don't feel that. I think Sean McDermott, when it comes to calling certain games against certain teams, you know, they struggle. A lot of games this year, they were um, dominated Diddy style in the first half. Got it together in the second half, won a lot of games because they have, one of the best quarterbacks in the history of football in Josh Allen, in my opinion, just my opinion. So, the hell, I don't know. I don't really know. I don't know too much about that, but there's there's teams just as tough in their way with the Patriots. The Patriots got 3 running backs that they could just pound the rock constantly and wear you out with 3 different styles. One's quick and get outside. The other two could get in the middle, could get outside. They can all 3 catch out of the backfield. You got a bunch of receivers that aren't known, but are making plays when they have to be. So Mike Vrabel been in the playoffs before. Very, very well coached team. Very, very, very well, organized coach when it comes to that. And then you got to put in the thing that you got Thomas Brown, passing game coordinator, former coach, wasn't long, but still former coach, former offensive coordinator, that Josh McDaniels brought in. You got Josh McDaniels in the building. I think the Bills are going to have problems if the Patriots make it to the next round. I think they're going to have problems. They went back and forth, 1-1. The first game, Patriots dominated. Then the Bills, I think squeaked one by. So it's not easy money for anybody. And right now, my scariest team is the Texans. I feel like after watching the Texans and who else played, the Texans pretty good. But anyway, the Texans, man, the Texans defense. That front seven is scary, 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 filthy, 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 disgusting. They put so much pressure on the quarterback, it's not even funny. So no matter who's on the other side, your offensive line is going to have to bring their A+ game and maybe have their A+ game, another A+ game in their back pocket just in case, because this defensive front is nasty. C.J. Stroud had 4 or 5 turnovers in a playoff game, and they still won. They still won. Yeah, the Texans, bro. Don't sleep on the Texans. If C.J. Stroud could put it together and have one of them games, that it's a team. that could definitely, put a scare on the Patriots. So Drake May, we're gonna see exactly what Drake May is made of, and I hope we see the same thing in the national championship game, Miami versus Indiana. Miami's defense, right? Akeem Mesidor, Ruben Bain versus their offensive line, and I hope to God, for the Raiders' sake, for the nation's sake, for the future's sake, that one of these teams, it's got to be Miami, puts pressure on Mendoza so we can see what it looks like playing from behind. We can see what it looks like when he makes mistakes. Does he get over them, right? Does he come back from those mistakes? Because we haven't seen, like I said, more than one touchdown. So, we're going to find out the same thing from Mendoza as we're about to find out from the Patriots and Drake May. Playoff time is different. Teams are different in the playoffs. You beat the Buffalo Bills early in the season when they were struggling. They seem to be a different team, you know. But first, you got to make it past the Texans, and the Texans, the Texans defense is going to be a huge, huge test for Drake May. Maybe one of the hardest tests he's had all year long, right? I mean, Mentor did pretty good with the Chargers. Jesse Mentor, another Raiders, coaching interview. We'll see how that goes. A lot of people say he's number one on the list. The little birdie in my ear says he's down to 5. They have 4 people in front of him that they are, talking to. Just what I'm hearing. No facts. Buffalo Bills lost 4 Super Bowls in a row. Oh, my bad, my bad. It was not 3, it was 4. Excuse me. I was trying to be light on the Buffalo Bills. Shout out to my guy Perry in the building. But yeah, man, that's, damn. Could you imagine being Jim Kelly and having to go against them sorry ass Dallas Cowboys? Wasn't it the Cowboys that they lost to all those times? Who? Well, I don't know. I'm old, man. I've watched so much football. I can't remember. But I do believe it was the Dallas Cowboys? I don't know, bro. I don't know. Go Jags. The Jags aren't even in the playoffs. Where are they going? They going fishing? I mean, you got some good weather. Not right now, but you got plenty of ocean. If you're out there in Jacksonville to hop on a boat, get your fishing on. They're one of the teams that don't have to go very far, being knocked out of the playoffs. No, I like the Jags, man. I like Liam Cohen. I was totally wrong about Liam Cohen. I've been wrong before. This is the first time, it's happened in my history as a YouTuber. Okay, they didn't go 10-5 or 12-5. I get it, but I wasn't sold on Liam Cohen, mainly because of the fact that he told Tampa Bay that he was going to stay and be their offensive coordinator, and then at the last minute said, "No, I'm going to take this job over here." So, I thought that was a little shady. I don't know why he had to do it like that. He could have just been honest. And I didn't think, just being the offensive coordinator, that he was ready for a head coaching gig. But damn, Liam Cohen, shout out to you, man. You made a liar out of me. Who you got tomorrow's game? Oh, excuse me. What are the predictions on the game? Shout out, appreciate another $5. Ooh, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. I think these 10 teams are evenly matched. I think they all got, damn good quarterbacks. That's why they are where they are. I think they all got, damn good coaches. I will say one thing about the Houston Texans is no Nico Collins is going to be rough. It's going to be rough. I don't know how you're going to get past that. I don't know how you're going to get over that. Bills lost to the Giants, Redskins, and Dallas twice. How'd they lose to Dallas twice? They're not in the same division. Play twice. Playing 2 times. You're only playing 1. Only playing 1. Coaching talks. Wait, what? All of these guys will go with Mike Webb. He's on the list, so I couldn't go with him. If I can tell him. Nice. So who you got, man? Who you got? I don't know what happened to the 25 people that was in here. It says 12 people, man. Can I at least get 6 comments? Come on. If you don't know, just Google it. Who's the best coach for the Raiders? See what it says. Ask Grok, ask AI, ask ChatGPT, ask Alexa, ask Siri, ask whoever. just comment, man. Comment. Who do you feel is the best fit for the Las Vegas Raiders coaching? Not just for this year, because we got to remember this one has to be at least minimum 3. We've said this for the last 4 or 5 years. It has to be minimum 3. Davis Webb. I talked about that when we first got on here. I think Davis Webb killed it in the interview. I think he'll get 2 interviews. Okay, let's do this. Second interviews. I've been on 2.5 hours. That's way too long. I don't know how y'all stay in here this long and listen to me ramble and talk nonsense. But I'm telling you, make sure if you do one thing today, do your homework for me. Because I want to know. I'm going to ask this question again tomorrow. Tell me the difference in Curtis Rourke and Fernando Mendoza. You don't have to be a football fan. You don't have to be a genius, an offensive coordinator, a head coach. You don't have to break down film. You don't have to be a film editor. You don't have to be none of that. Just go in there and watch these throws. It's simple. YouTube highlights. They all the same. They all look the same. Davis Webb, Travis Kelce. Oh my God! Take Webb or Kubiak. Okay. Which Kubiak? Klay Kubiak or Clint Kubiak? Because Klay Kubiak will be interviewing. I don't know when, but soon. Clint Kubiak already interviewed. Klay Kubiak will be interviewing. But I'm going to give you my list, my short list of guys that I do believe will get a second interview. First on the list, we're not starting with number 1. Come on, we're not starting with number 1. I believe if Kevin Stefanski does not get picked up, which I don't know why somebody wouldn't scoop this man up. I don't know how you get 2-time Coach of the Year with the Browns team that you got 2-time Coach of the Year with, and people are not looking at you as one of the names higher than Harbaugh or with Harbaugh, right? So Kevin Stefanski, if he doesn't get scooped up, I believe gets a second interview. I know Mike LaFleur has not had his interview yet. I believe he gets a second interview. I believe Davis Webb gets a second interview. I believe Jesse Mentor will get a second interview. Nate Schilhaus, if he doesn't get signed by one of these teams after his interviews, which from what I'm hearing, a lot of people are really, really big on the Schilhaus. You know, he's been the right-hand guy under McVay for the last 2 years. Does, all his dirty work, writes his playbooks out for him, all that shit, knows McVay's mind, how he thinks more than anybody, probably more than Mike LaFleur, and probably more than Chris Shula. So Schilhaus, I do believe, gets another interview. But there's one guy that is still not on the list yet, and I don't know why. Because you could interview him in person, and it doesn't have to be a phone interview. And that's Udinski, right? That's the offensive coordinator for the Jacksonville Jaguars. There's a lot of talk around this guy, and the birdie in my ear says the Raiders are making a huge mistake if they don't bring him in and pick his brain. If they like guys like Mike LaFleur, if they like guys like Jeff Hafley, who they've interviewed, if they like guys like Jesse Mentor, right? If they like these guys, from what I'm hearing, is you need to bring in Udick, whatever the hell his name is. I'm probably just added 50 names to it. But you need to bring in the offensive coordinator for the Jacksonville Jaguars and at least pick his brain, right? Pick his brain. The guy that brought him in was turned out to be a damn good choice. Best team in the NFL is the Seahawks. Man, the Seahawks, Sam Darnold has an oblique injury and is probably going to play injured if he can even go. So the best team in the Seahawks, will be, relying on Drew Lock, a guy that could be the next Nick Foles, like we talked about it earlier, 2007 and 18. Go look it up. Carson Wentz, a rookie, takes his team to the Super Bowl, gets hurt, can't play in the Super Bowl. Nick Foles wins the Super Bowl. Seattle has the team good enough that they can put in Drew Lock and win some games. I've seen him play in a couple games this year and in preseason, and Drew Lock looked pretty damn good. So, look for if if Sam Darnold can't go, are they as good with Drew Lock as they are with Sam Darnold? That is a question we'll have to wait and see this weekend. I've been a Seahawks. I've been a Seahawks since DK Metcalf rookie year. That was 6 years ago. Damn. DK Metcalf's getting old. Raiders should not have left Oakland. We hear this all the time. I don't think they had a choice. It really wasn't up to them. Mahomes owns you. Mahomes don't own shit. Rob bitch slapped the hair off his head. Fuck you mean? You don't know nobody. Nobody. No, the defense I know. No, the defense I know. What is that? Two fan. No, the defense I know. Two fan. Okay, man. All right, so that's the news. That's the news. That's what I'm bringing you, right? Klay Kubiak on that list. Joe Brady. Everybody should be excited, for Joe Brady. Another ginger, right? Join that ginger family. We roll hard, bro. We roll hard, and we are very, very smart, intelligent people and leaders, right? So, Max Crosby, another one of those gingers, right? Pretty much all the coaches I think right now in the NFL got some kind of ginger in them. So don't diss the ginger. Don't go away from the red, right? Don't bet on black all the time. Sometimes you got to bet on red on the head. So, yeah, rock with the gingers. Check out Luke Steckel, man. Check out some of these cats that definitely need to be talked about in the interview process. Hilarious. Not hilarious. Not even funny. How did the Chiefs win the Super Bowl at your stadium? Well, they came in. They hiked the ball. They threw touchdowns. They ran it. They played defense. And they played a team that wasn't in their league during the Super Bowl. So, I mean, it's simple how, right? They had a better offense, a better defense, better special teams, a better quarterback. Um, that's usually how teams win, bro. Exactly how, I don't know. I mean, if you want for $100 super chat, I will break down the whole story play by play of the game and go back in and call the game. But I can't tell you how. Um, the Raiders didn't let them, right? We weren't in it. We didn't have a chance. Let's dab. I'll support you. Dab then. I already am, bro. You slow. AOC owns the Queefs. AOC owns Mahomes, right? 3 games, 2 games. Outplayed Mahomes. Better numbers. Yeah, the Queefs won 2 of those. Lost one. But even in the game when he didn't do good. Yeah. Whoever says Stefanski is a bad coach don't know ball. I mean, I gotta agree with you. I think Stefanski is a hell of a coach, man. I think he's a hell of a coach. Go look at the stats. Go look at the stats. Last year, A. O'Connell had 242 touchdowns. Patrick Mahomes had 260 with 1 touchdown or 0 touchdowns, I do believe. I do believe. So yes, AOC has outplayed him. and beat him. And he is the Chiefs killer, the Chiefs squiller, the Chiefs squiller. Mendoza will never be close to Mahomes if you draft him. I agree with you. I agree with you. It's going to be hard for him to compete, you know, in a division with a Bo Nix. I think Bo Nix is better than Mendoza. Honestly, maybe not better passer, maybe not better accuracy, but a better manager of the game. And the fact that he can make crazy off the off script plays, and that makes a difference in the NFL. And as far as the Goff comparison to Mendoza, right? To be honest, like even Jared Goff, even Matt Ryan, like even those guys, right? Made some damn good plays off of script. I don't see Mendoza going off script much, but not because he not it's not a knock on him. It's just because he doesn't have to. His offensive line gives him plenty of time. He doesn't, they don't allow a lot of pressure, so he's not under pressure a lot. He don't have to make too many quick decisions. He can let the routes develop and then, decide where he wants to go with the ball. But off script, I've seen him make some damn good throws. I've seen him throw on the run, pretty damn decent. I've seen him run and throw across his body to the other side of the field. Great throw. But there's not too many that I see where, off script he's making just crazy throws that nobody else can make. And even Goff and what the hell's the other name? Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins. He's been, comped to a lot. Even Kirk Cousins made some damn before the Achilles injury, made some damn good plays off script. How am I mean? Just to get ready takes a minute to get the chat, but if you really want to, what are you talking? I'm not mean. For what? Stop smoking. It's not good for you. The Detroit Lions are better, buddy. Who said I'm smoking? What are you talking about? Oh my God, doggy dog. Snoop Doggy Dog. Snoop Doggy Doggy Dog. Snoop Dogg. All right, so where do you think is gonna go? Who do you think is gonna go where? The coaching openings. This dog, man. Tonka truck. Tonka. Fucking dog. Oh my goodness. Fucking kids, bro. I swear to God. I swear to God. Well, shit. This has been a great live with the dog barking, most of it, 100%. I don't know how y'all are still in the building. Shout out for the likes. Shout out for the people. Appreciate all y'all. They're smoking in the garage. Nah, there's kids out there throwing up and shit. They're probably all drunk. But it's not my business. It's not my side of the house. I'm not daddy. Yeah, more than likely. More than likely. In and out like damn cockroaches and shit. But yeah, so that's where we're at, man. Who y'all got? Let me know y'all's picks. Y'all never tell me who you got. Who you got Monday, first off? Indiana? Do you think Miami has a chance? Do you think they're going to cover the 8.5? Like, what are we talking here? What are we talking? What do you guys feel? Where you at? How do you feel about the situation? How do you feel about the situation? Let me know. Let me know. Kim Scatterboo, Smoking Garage. You think Miami wins? Nice. Yeah, I think sometimes, man, when you get a team all gassed up and everybody believes like, you know, this team is the greatest team of all time, and Indiana don't strike me as a team of character of guys that are worried about what everybody else is talking. I know their coach isn't in Signetti, but come on, man, you can't turn on the TV or turn on anything or even social media to go to search something on Google and Indiana, Miami, something's popping up. So they see the smoke, they hear the smoke, right? They know what's going on, they know what's happening. So I just feel when sometimes, right, you get to that undefeated spot. Even the Patriot. I mean, yeah, the Patriots, right? Undefeated, 17-0 through a season. They ran up against a brick wall. A team that was in the playoffs because they made it in a wild card. Not a team that beat everybody and spanked everybody's ass, put belt to ass. But the Patriots, 17-0, lost to the Giants in a Super Bowl. A team that had only won 8 games, I do believe, that season. Anybody, David and Goliath, right? A rock and a bow and a rock and a damn slingshot. Anybody could beat anybody on any given day. It just depends on who has the most heart, who is the most disciplined. I think that edge goes to Miami on the discipline part. They don't. I mean, Indiana does not cause penalties. They don't make mistakes, right? No dumb flags, no offsides, and that's a hard team to beat. When the other team doesn't do anything to hurt itself, it is very difficult to beat those teams. Miami definitely has, an uphill battle. But I believe the size of their offensive line, right, is going to give Carson Beck time to throw the football. And if he just makes good decisions, which last week he did. The interception he had last week, it was a tip ball, right? It was in the receiver's hands. The receiver just didn't catch it. So if he gets help from his team, and I think he's got 14 or 13, 12 or 13 interceptions now this season for Carson Beck. That's a lot of interceptions in a season. That's not Geno Smith, numbers, but that's a lot. But I went back and tried to look at them, and there was at least 5 of those that were tipped, which is no excuse. It's still maybe a ball that shouldn't have been thrown, or maybe it's a ball that should have been caught. So for Carson Beck, no excuses. You still have those interceptions, but they weren't all, just bad throws or throws into bad windows. And if you get help, I banged my head on the door today like Scatterboo. Don't do that, bro. Don't do that. Don't do that, bro. You're going to have a damn headache banging your head on the door. So, yeah, who we got, man? Who y'all got? Who y'all got in the playoffs? You got Miami. I think Miami has a shot. I think I really feel like Indiana is, too dominant, and they're going to have to make mistakes, right? Miami's going to have to force them into turnovers. You're going to have to, maybe catch Mendoza on one of those runs like they did last week. Maybe you catch them slipping, knock the ball out, and hopefully it goes to Miami instead of Indiana because they fumbled last week, right? But it went right back to Indiana. It wasn't a lost fumble. So, but the fact of the matter is they got the ball out from behind, wasn't very careful running the ball. And Miami's going to have to, whether it's interceptions, whether it's sacks, whether it's turnovers, whether it's in the kicking game, right? Tackling, forcing fumbles, they're going to have to make them make mistakes, penalties, whatever they can do, you know, to get help. It's going to take for Miami to do it. But I think a lot of people are underestimating Mario Cristobal and, what he's done in college football, the ups, the downs, where he has this team with a quarterback that's won 2 national championships and has a whole lot more snaps than Fernando Mendoza in these situations, right? So I think he has that going for him. Buffalo Bills, division game tomorrow, 3 p.m. Pull up, turn up, tune in. Bills versus Broncos. Man, that's a rough one. That's a rough one. Let's break it down. The Broncos have been starting off slow. We know that. They're a fourth quarter team. The Bills, on the other hand, have kind of been a fourth quarter team too. Is this a fourth quarter clash where we see a lot of back and forth? Is it a game where they score a lot of points? Is it a game where the defense takes over? It's very hard to choose, right? Denver, do they have enough to stop Josh Allen? Do they have enough to stop Cook? I don't, I don't know. I believe that front seven does. It's hard. On the other hand, the Bills defense is playing way better than they have in the last couple years. The offense for the Broncos, they start off slow, right? Against the Raiders, they scored 10 points. Then again, they only scored, 13 points until the last quarter and some turnovers and some mistakes. So they've had their ups and downs. They've had to come back in a lot of games. Josh Allen is the comeback king lately in these playoffs. Do the Broncos have enough after sitting for 2 weeks, right? Sometimes that rest is a bad thing. Sometimes having the blood pumping, still being in the groove, right? Having the adrenaline of beating the team the week before, carrying that energy into the next week, which the Bills are doing. Sometimes that's enough to get past a team that, might be better than you, that might have a better coach than you, that might have a better staff than you. Sometimes the adrenaline is enough to carry over. So, um, I don't know, man. I don't know. I as a Raiders fan, I don't want to root for the Broncos unless they're in the Super Bowl, right? Because that means the shit another another year where the AFC West was a dominant division. It seems to be, pretty much every year with Kansas City Chiefs winning it. Now the Donkeys have a chance. So the Denver Broncos, man, I'm gonna have to root against them. They're gonna have to win 2 more for me to cheer. Or so I'm going Buffalo Bills. I'm gonna say a close one, man, a close one. I say 20, 24-21, or probably not even that. Probably like 19-17, something crazy, crazy numbers. Something wild's gonna happen in this game. You can almost book it and bank it. What are the odds? Um, don't have the odds. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Bills. I don't know what the spread is. If somebody knows in the chat, let me know what the spread is. I don't feel like looking at because I'm looking at this right now. Yeah, don't have it. Players, stats, standings. No. So Buffalo Bills less than a touchdown, but I think they do win. I think Josh Allen is just going to be too much for this defense. Their front seven is good. Their back seven is even more ridiculous. But the fact that you have Josh Allen and you could spread out your offense and then not only run the ball with a pretty solid, damn good running back, but you can also keep the ball when everything breaks down and pick up huge yardage yourself with your legs. I think that aspect might be a little bit too much for the Broncos. They seem to have problems with quarterbacks that are mobile and can run this year. I mean, just go back and look what the Jacksonville Jaguars did to them. What they put up, 5 touchdowns in that game from from Trevor Lawrence, 3 rushing and 2 passing. I do believe I could be wrong. I think that was the game. So, you know, You got to watch out for Denver's defense when it comes to mobile quarterbacks. And Josh Allen is, the best of the best when it comes to making plays when you need them. So, yeah, I got the Bills, 49ers, Seattle Seahawks. Man, it's very, very hard. I don't really hate the 49ers, right? I'm not that, Battle of the Bay type Raider fan. They got a great franchise, always have. Kind of like Mac Jones. Kind of like Curtis Rourke over there. But Seattle, man, Seattle, when you got Sam Darnold with an oblique injury and your quarterback can't throw the ball or rip it downfield, that takes away not only one dynamic aspect, it takes away two. You're taking away Jackson, Smith, and Jigba. And when you take away his ability to catch the ball downfield, his ability to stretch the field, his ability to make, dynamic catches, how much accuracy is going to be taken away from a guy, you know, how much accuracy is going to be taken away from Sam Darnold with an oblique injury. It's not, I don't know how bad it is, but it's bad enough where he hasn't been, practicing and he's going to try to play. Seahawks win it all, or Drew Lock. It's okay. We have defense. Defense wins ball games, but their defense, is still a defense that's giving up 20 points, right? They give up 17, I think, last week, but they're still giving up around that 20 points. And giving up 20 points is, about that average where anybody can win. Anybody can win. So Seattle's defense, Nicky Manwari is an absolute dog. Westbrook, or the other defensive back, absolute flipping dog. Yeah, the defense flies around. They make plays. They don't miss tackles. They do an awful lot, man. They do an awful lot. Born to be a Raider fan. Looking forward to the Senior Bowl and Combine. Me as well, bro. Me as well. I think we take Francis Mangoa with the first pick, trade for a proven quarterback. We historically don't do great developing quarterbacks. We don't do great developing quarterbacks. That is a fact. And we don't do great drafting quarterbacks. That is another fact. Two huge facts. So shout out to you, man. Like the comment, like the facts. What else did I miss? Banging a head on the door. I got all that. Francis Magoa, or Francis. I always call him Francis. It's Francis Mauigoa. Mauigoa is a dog. He's in my top 3, maybe my top 1. There's 2 other cats. The hell is his name? We'll get to my breakdowns. Like, subscribe to the channel, follow, all that good shit. Unless Jack Del Rio is back. I don't know if any of these guys are worth a first round pick. If you could trade back a couple spots, and it doesn't even have to, you don't have to pick up a huge bag. If you could just trade back to make it, look respectable to take a guy like a Francis Mauigoa, or, a Caleb Downs, or a Arvell Reese, or any of these guys, David Bell. I mean, golly, like, there's so many defensive ends and linebackers in this draft that if you could trade back and just get one of those with a couple draft picks, I wouldn't be mad at it. We need to trade down and get Chambliss, wide receiver, from Ohio State. We need 4 number 1 draft picks. Somebody is watching Chat Sports again. Come on. We aren't getting 4, man. We aren't getting 4. I know there's a lot of people talking about 4. We'd be lucky to get 3. Lucky to get 3. If they offer you 2 and some other picks, take it. Take it. If you don't believe Mendoza's the guy. Now, if they believe Mendoza's that guy for the franchise, then take him, right? I think after he sits for a year, he's possibly a top 15 quarterback. Is that worth taking number 1 when we have as many holes as we do? Absolutely not, in my opinion. But my opinion don't mean shit to the Raiders. I hope it means something to y'all. If it doesn't, it is what it is. But if we have a chance to trade back, you got to take it. It can't be for, bullshit. It can't be for scraps. It's got to be decent. And if Mendoza's your guy, take Mendoza. I won't be mad at it, right? I don't, I'm gonna be mad as hell if he fails, but so will everybody else. So will everybody else. But if you look at our track record with coaches, with offensive coordinators, I mean, not even coaches, bro. Not even coaches. We had Josh McDaniels, Bo Hardigree. We had Luke Getsy. We had Luke Getsy in the not one Turner, but they had to bring in another Turner because one Turner wasn't enough. Then this year we had Chip Kelly, and then also, bro, we've had six offensive coordinators, six offensive coordinators in 3 years. It's ridiculous, bro. So until we figure out, something, is it really? I don't know why she keeps barking, bro. It's absolutely ridiculous. But is it fair to anybody in this draft in college to be sanctioned to be stuck on a team that could very well draft a coach that is garbage, that doesn't turn out to be him, to a team that could very well draft a quarterback that may or may not be him, right? Come over here somewhere. I think we owe it to these college players to not put them in those positions to fail, right? In my opinion, all those OCs. Now everybody's saying, okay, but this year's going to be different. But we said that last year. We said that with Antonio Pierce. Give him at least 3 years. He got one. We said that with Pete Carroll. Give him minimum 3 years. He got one. We can't just keep doing this. So, I feel we're in a very, very bad spot. Shout out Navy Vet for controlling, sniping the chat. I feel like we're just in a bad spot. Again, that yes, we need a number one quarterback. Yes, we need a franchise quarterback. Yes, we have the overall pick and a chance to get it. Yes, there's 15 possible next year. At the minimum 5 or 6. Minimum 5 or 6 to choose from. Me, I like choices. I don't like being stuck on having to pick a guy because we're in a position that we need him and we have to get him and we have to get him now. I don't like feeling like that. I don't like feeling like any of my decisions are forced, right? I feel like they're analyzed, like they're talked through, right? They're thought about, they're processed before you just, take a guy because you're forced to. Like they were forced to hire AP, right? Like they were forced to fire Josh McDaniels, right? Like too much forcing. This franchise has to get it right. We can only give our opinion. They have to be the ones to make the right choice. And I just hope to God, with everything that I love, that they do make the right choice this year. Because if they don't, I don't know how long it'll be before we could even be having this conversation of us being relevant again. I might not even be alive by then. I mean, damn. It could be 10 years instead of, one mistake, just one. 10 years. We didn't have a game last week. We played 18 and 49ers, only one score. Yeah, the week before. You know what I meant. Come on, bro. Shout out for the $1 holla, $2 holla. Raiders will get Fernando Mendoza. Look at Matthew Stafford 2.0. Looks like. I like that comp. I really do. I said that the other day. Tom Brady kind of whiffed, on getting Matthew Stafford. Mendoza is kind of the next best thing. Kind of, right? But go look at Matthew Stafford in college. Look at Mendoza. Look at the team Stafford was on in college and the numbers he put up. Look at the team he was on in Detroit and the numbers he put up. Look at the team Mendoza was on at Cal, the numbers he put up. Look at the team he's on now and the numbers he put up. That's all I can say. Shout out for the dollar. Appreciate you. And with that, I love y'all. Much love. Shout out to the people in the building. I'll stay for another minute. 16 of y'all. But yeah, comments, questions. I'm to the bottom of the list. So if you have any questions, now's the time. You don't have to hashtag. You don't have to super chat. None of that bullshit. Ask your questions. Get them in if you have any. If not, I will dip. Damn, it's so cold out here, making my teeth hurt. As far as coaches, man, as far as coaches and where they will go, we will break that down tomorrow. So pull up tomorrow. We will break down not just the Raiders coaches, but all the coaches. Where's the good landing fit? Where I think these guys will go. Which teams I think are going to pull the trigger and surprise a lot of people and go with some of these young guys, because there are some very, very, very well respected, brilliant young minds like a Schilhaas, like a, you know, like Davis Webb, who played quarterback in the NFL. Guys like Josh McCown, who nobody's talking about right now. I don't understand why he's not in the running. You know, Kubiak's another one of those families. If they're interviewing, let me ask you this question. If they're interviewing Klay Kubiak, did the interview not go well with Clint? Or are you just seeing possibly if his brother is better than you? Like, I mean, I don't know. But it seems kind of weird to me that you would interview one guy and then bring in his brother and interview him as well. Just a thought. Just a thought. I mean, we know his father. We know what he does, right? We know what the 49ers have done with their coaches this year, right? It's definitely a name you have to pick. Definitely a name you have to look at. Maybe they're just bringing in all these offensive coordinators to see what their take is on Mendoza, right? I mean, it doesn't hurt anybody to do an interview, so it doesn't hurt to pick up a phone call and say, hey, let's do a Zoom call. And instead of talking about the Raiders head coaching job, they're trying to find out what these guys feel about Mendoza. Maybe they're asking all these offensive coordinators that they brought in the building, or not in the building, but that they've done Zoom calls with. Maybe they're just like, hey, what is your take on Mendoza? What is your evaluation of this guy? Do you think he's a future? Do you think he's, worth the number one pick? That could be a very big possibility also. My night is very well. Very well. 20 people in the building. Freezing to death out here because the dog won't stop barking because there's a car running outside. And, can't ask for better than that. Football tomorrow, playoffs. Football Sunday, playoffs. It's unfortunate that my Raiders aren't involved in it again, but you know what it is. Turn off the lights. Turn off the lights. Upstairs. How's y'all's night going? Shout out to the 23 people in here. Who do you feel? Anybody want to talk? Anybody want to elaborate where you think the best fit is for these coaches? Should we talk about it tomorrow? Should we wait? What y'all want to do? I mean, I got nothing to do. It's just me.
And downstairs.
Just me. Just me. This dog, bro. I need a muzzle. Anybody know where I get a muzzle? The dog's 40 years old. It won't stop barking. Jesus. What did I hear today? Damn, something I wanted to tell y'all. But I forgot. Amazon, what? No, lose the kids crazy. They are crazy, bro. They are crazy. Crazy. Oh, Amazon for the muzzle. I was like, Amazon? What? I shouldn't ask questions if I if I don't want the answer to it. Crazy. around my motorcycle. Ooh, that's too bright. It's too bright. It's too bright. Damn. Kid driving a damn Cadillac. What? The Cadillac CTV too. Parents ain't gonna be happy when that $70,000 car. Well, you know, it is what it is. Harbaugh and Jackson Dart, man. Do y'all feel like? Do you think Harbaugh comes in and just wins the division if he takes the job, which is, you know, pretty much a lock that, you know, after the steak and shit he ate, that it's a lock. But do y'all feel like Harbaugh can come in and take a team like Jackson Dart with a rookie with, you know, you got a good backup that still wants to be in the building that everybody loves? You got damn good, you know, if Scatterboo comes back, if not, you can still draft, you know, a running back. You got still a very high draft pick for the Giants. You got good salary cap. The Eagles, I mean, looking for their third offensive coordinator. That division is up for grabs. That division is definitely up for grabs, right? There's no standout winner. And if you look at that division, I believe there's a, you know, every year there's a different winner in that division. I think the Eagles, the Giants have won it. Been a long time since the Commanders or Redskins have won it. But that's a damn good, tough division as well. Speaking of the Dallas Cowboys, this is next segment. Dallas Cowboys have 2 first-round picks, right? 2 first-round picks. Is there a possibility that Jerry Jones, as old as he is, decides just maybe he wants to move up to number 1 to make sure he gets Arvell Reese, to make sure he gets probably not Ruben Bain. I mean, that would be crazy. Is there a possibility that maybe Jerry Jones does something crazy and moves up to number 1 and gets Fernando Mendoza and trades Dak Prescott after that big contract they just gave him? Because, I mean, if I'm the Dallas Cowboys, right, and I'm trying to rebuild my franchise or, you know, be relevant again, a rookie quarterback in that offense could do very good if you kept Pickens, right? You got CeeDee Lamb, you got Pickens, you got Williams as a running back. You have one of the best offensive lines in football, in my opinion, and they'll probably draft another offensive lineman. I mean, does it make sense? Does it make sense for the Dallas Cowboys to possibly try to jump up? Where are they sitting at? Hold on, let me see. NFL draft. Damn it. Helps if I could see. He was fired for a reason. Harbaugh's a damn good coach, man. Harbaugh's a damn good coach. He turned Jackson around. Draft order 2026. I think that's what I want. Yeah, so yo, the Cowboys are all the way in 12th, bro. In 12. You know what I'm saying? That's not too much of a hot take. I mean, Frank Weber in the building, appreciate you. That's not a hot take at all. That's not too much to ask. I mean, the Dallas Cowboys have done way crazier shit. Now, they could possibly try to move up to 2, right? Because they know, right? Unless they call the Raiders and say, hey, are you taking Mendoza? And they're like, no, we're taking Arvell Reese. just to mess with the Giants, maybe it's Arvell Reese they want. Maybe it's Ruben Bain. Maybe it's shit. They could use a linebacker. They could use a shutdown corner. There's definitely a couple of those. But with the Cowboys picking at 12, I don't see them trying to get up to 1. But I definitely see them trying to move up in this draft. You have 2 picks. Maybe they stick and pick. Where's the other pick? 20. So they got 12 and 20. I mean, shit. If I'm the GM for the Raiders, I'm taking those picks if they want to move back, right? Let's go NFL. Draft Buzz. I love this app. All right, so edge-wise. You got Ruben Bain going to be in the national championship. If he wins the national championship, if Ruben Bain goes out and has 3 sacks, right? In the national championship against Carson Beck and that Miami offensive line, against Francis Magoa, if Ruben Bain goes out and does that against that big ass man, I don't think anybody's talking about his arm size. I think they're talking about his strength, But like I said, with the projected 4.9 speed or 4.7 speed, I mean, I don't know. I don't know about Ruben Bain. Then you have Keldrick Falk, which at 285, man, Keldrick Falk is a damn monster. And I believe that's, if you're trying to get to a Micah Parsons type, I mean, ding, 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 right? Just my opinion. There's no way the Dallas Cowboys get him 12th. Definitely no way to get him at 20, right? You got David Bailey. What was I calling him earlier? Whatever. I was way off. Anyways, David Bailey is who I was trying to talk. Texas Tech, linebacker, edge rusher, another guy that's 6'3", 250, that runs a 4.5, a 4.5. I'm just saying. Could you imagine the Dallas Cowboys moving up to the first overall pick because they want one of these guys that they believe is the future of their franchise, which, I know it's just a crazy, crazy dream. However, that offensive line is solid. Maybe they need a tackle. Maybe they want, Francis Magoa, Just saying, it could happen. It could happen. But could you imagine a scenario where the Raiders trade the Dallas Cowboys first overall pick, move back to 12th, and the Jets still end up with Mendoza? Jets fans. Jets fans would be crazy. You also have Cassius Howe, which is another, I think is way higher than I've seen him on draft boards. On my draft board, he's going to be a little bit higher. But, man, there's some dogs right there, right, that you can go out and get. Offensive line-wise, Francis Magoa, what if he goes out there and what I'll just say, I don't know. What if he goes down there and shuts down this Indiana defense, right? And, rises up that draft stock. What about in the combine, right? The Dallas Cowboys, they took a lineman last year, 12th overall or higher, I do believe. Like maybe they hop up a spot or two, or a bunch of spots. Just saying. The Cleveland Browns don't have a head coach, right? What if the Cleveland Browns head coach, whoever they decide to be the head coach, comes in the building and says, or before he's hired, says, yeah, I'll take this job. if you move up and get the first or second overall pick, the first overall pick, maybe they want Mendoza, right? Maybe whoever the Cleveland Browns decide to bring in as their guy has Mendoza as his number one. The Browns are sitting at 6, right? What would it take for the Browns to move up a couple spots? I guess not a couple spots, from 6 to 1, right? They got 2 first-round picks. I don't think that would do it if you're moving up from 6 to 1. I think it would have to be at least 3 first rounds for me. Is that enough? I mean, Oreo, what's good? What's good? Shit, it's Friday. Let's fucking go. Raider Sports trivia questions. Go ahead. What you got? What you got? Dikembe Mutombo recently passed. What? When? Oh, man. R.I.P. Dikembe. What? You know. No. That sucks, man. During his NBA days, he was known for the shutdown defense and the iconic finger wag. In history, was anyone in history has anyone fingered more people? I would like to believe I have fingered a lot more people than Dikembe Mutombo. If you're talking about NBA, then historically, probably Wilt Chamberlain. I would say Wilt. I'm gonna have to go Wilt, but with the finger wave, I don't know. I don't know who's fingered more people, but I'm gonna have to add myself to this list. So you have Francis Mauigoa, 6'6", 315. Good Lord, that's a big body. Then you have Spencer Fano, right? Spencer Fano could be taken by one of those top 5 teams. So could Francis. Then you have Caden Proctor, who I don't think is third. This is just somebody else's list I'm reading off of. You have Caleb Lamo. I don't know how to say his last name either. I apologize. But I have this dude a lot higher on the list than a lot of people. He is physical. He is angry. He likes to hurt people and push people around. And I think he's getting slept on. 6'6", 304 pounds. I would like to see him, put on another 25 pounds of muscle, not body fat. But if he puts on another 25 pounds of muscle, Caleb Lamo out of Utah, and I told y'all, right, we've talked about this before, the Raiders, one of the teams they went to more than any team was Utah, Oregon, and Penn State. Penn State, you're looking at Francis Magoa. Oregon, you're looking at Spencer Fano and Caleb Lamo. So those 3 guys, if they were looking at those 3 schools more than any other school, more than Indiana. Now we know there's been rumors that Spytek was at the last game in the stands watching Fernando Mendoza, and maybe for a reason. Maybe because everybody wants Raider Nation, and he's like, damn. But these offensive lines sure look very, very tempting. Do you take one at 1? I don't know if any of these offensive linemen are worth a number 1 pick, right? I don't think, really, I don't see anybody in this draft being worth a number 1 pick, man. And it sucks that the Raiders are in that spot. Now, the highest chance of, being worth that pick may be Fernando Mendoza. But if you look at the offensive linemen taken last year, and a lot of people thought Membu should go higher than he did. He's killed it with the Jets, right? You look at the Patriots and their offensive linemen. A lot of people said he had small arms, right? He hasn't had as great of a year as Membu. So people get that wrong also. And if you're going offensive line, I just don't know how you sell it to Raider Nation taking 1 overall, which doesn't really matter. You the GM and the owner, you don't really have to sell shit to Raider Nation. There ain't shit we could do about it, right? But there are some offensive linemen up here, man. Jennings Dunker, an offensive guard that I really, really, really like. Another reason I think they were at Penn State, but we have a guard. But Oliavega Lone, 6'4", 330. Is this a guy that can move to a right tackle? I don't know. But I know at guard, that's a mammoth, bro. 6'4", 330. Like, that's an anchor at guard, right? And then another guy that doesn't get a lot of talk, Ohio, right? Ohio's offensive tackle, Austin Shiverfield, 6'5", 320 pounds, athletic, strong, physical, has that mean streak also. Brian Parker from Duke, I really like another guy that I think is physical, 6'5", 300 pounds, needs to put on more weight. But, man, these are guys that, I just don't see justifying taking first overall. Now, if you're going just linebackers, right? Just linebackers. You got Arvell Reese. You got David Bailey. You got Anthony Jr. You got Sonny Styles. And like I said, my mock draft the other day, I traded back. I got a whole shitload of picks from the New York Jets. I got their two first rounds. I got their 33rd pick. And I got a first round next year, right? And I went with David Bailey. David Bailey with the I traded with the Browns, my bad, at number 6. So I went David Bailey, and then at 20, Sonny Styles was still there. So I said, shit, there's two different linebackers, right? One's edge, one could play the mic, could play all over the field. One's fast, could be in coverage, Sonny Styles. And if the Raiders got two linebackers in the first round with Max Crosby, this defense easily goes from 16th or wherever we were ranked last year to a top 10 defense. One of our biggest problems was tackling. One of our biggest problems was linebackers being able to cover tight ends, cover running backs out of the backfield, drop back in coverage and cover 3, right? Hopefully we don't run as much cover 3 this year. But that was a huge problem for the Raiders. Some would say more than the quarterback problem, right? Because of our defense and our linebackers, we're better. We're in a lot more of these football games. Maybe Geno doesn't have to push the ball so hard. Maybe maybe we have leads and Geno's not throwing 3 interceptions a game or averaging 2 a game, right? Maybe, just maybe. So I wouldn't be opposed to taking linebackers. Let me see if I can find my draft. See what y'all think about it real quick. I don't know where the hell it is. Oh, it's on the other phone. It's on this phone. Never mind. Can't show you. But I'll post it or something. I'll let y'all know. Anyways, but how would y'all feel if the Raiders, did trade back, right? Because it's not just the Raiders. Let me see this. Let's go to this one. Ow, shit. Teams that need quarterback 2026. And predicted 12 teams with quarterback questions. This is from ESPN. The Arizona Cardinals. Right? They have Murray. They have, assets that they could trade to move around. They have pretty damn good receivers over there. A couple, 2 good ones that I know of. You have Arizona. The Carolina Panthers is on this list with Bryce Young, but I think with the way Bryce Young played, in the playoffs, I just don't see them looking for a quarterback right now. I think they need to roll with Bryce Young. but this is not my list. This is ESPN's. The Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns. Whoever comes in might not be, Dylan Gabriel fans or, Shador Sanders fans. They might not be, fans of a guy that has an 18.8 QBR in his first year in the NFL. I wouldn't be fans of that either. The Indianapolis Colts, Daniel Jones coming off the Achilles. Do they keep him in the offseason and then decide, to let him go if he's not the same person he was last year? That makes a lot of sense, in my opinion. Next up, we have the Las Vegas Raiders, right? We know the Raiders need a quarterback, but do they? Can Aiden O'Connell be that guy for a year? Matthew Stafford. Matthew is making $44 million. He's had back issues, right? They could be one of those teams that could win a Super Bowl and he can ride off into the sunset, retire, never look back, got 2 Super Bowl chips, right? Could happen. Then the Rams are like, who we got? Jimmy Garoppolo? we got Jimmy Garoppolo. Maybe the Rams could trade for Curtis Rourke and they could have, the same quarterback as the Raiders if they draft Mendoza. Maybe they could do that. But the Rams could possibly be, in that scenario. The New Orleans Saints, I don't think they're in that scenario. I think Tyler Shook is the guy, right? I think you go with Tyler Shook. The New York Jets, we all know the New York Jets need a quarterback. Are they willing to give up, 2 first rounds, one this year and one next year to move up one spot? If they are, I'm taking that. I'm taking that all day for Mendoza. I think you can get a guy not first overall. You have, less statistics, less chances of them failing than you do. So for the Jets with, the Pittsburgh Steelers, no Aaron Rodgers. The Steelers are going to need a quarterback this year, right? Maybe the Pittsburgh Steelers are like, damn, we could really use a Mendoza. It's been a long time since they drafted one. Okay, not a long time, but last time they took one in the first round. It's a guy that's on the bench right now for the Las Vegas Raiders or was on the bench all year. And Kenny Pickett. I don't think, that worked out. The Tampa Bay Bucks. Maybe they are looking at Matthew Stafford. Maybe they are looking at Baker Mayfield and thinking, damn, Baker just can't get us over the hump. We're right at the same every year, right? 8 wins, 9 wins in a division that's not very good. And sometimes you make the playoffs, sometimes you don't make the playoffs. So those are 12 possible teams that could definitely, need a quarterback. Man, well, this shit just stay when I'm typing it. Damn it. But yeah, so out of those 12 teams, man, I feel like any one of those teams could jump up to number 1. Maybe somebody on their staff is as crazy as Raider fans and believe that Mendoza is a lock for the future. The guy to take us over the hump to at least get us to a playoff win and win. Maybe he is. Maybe there's somebody in another organization that feels that, they listened to enough hype on Mendoza, they watched enough film, and they believe, they're just one piece away, and it's Mendoza. Would they be willing to move up? I think they would. And I think there's a lot of teams that would be willing to move up if the price is right. There's not a lot of teams that are willing to give up, 3 first rounds for a quarterback like Mendoza. But man, 3 hours and a half. That's way too long on a Friday night. I appreciate the 20 people in the building. I appreciate y'all rocking with me. Pull up. I might hop on later night. Might and do some mock drafts. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. Tickle the notification button. It likes to be tickled to turn on. So you'll be notified when I drop videos, shorts, all that good shit. Appreciate y'all as always. Raiders. Much love, man. Much love.